తెలంగాణ తల్లి అవతరణ దినోత్సవంగా జరుపుకోవాలని తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం అధికారిక నిర్ణయం తీసుకొని ప్రతి సంవత్సరం డిసెంబర్ 9 నాడు తెలంగాణ తల్లి ఆవిష్కరణ ఉత్సవాలను జరుపుకుంటున్నాం. అందులో భాగంగానే ఈనాడు పోయిన సంవత్సరం రాష్ట్ర పరిపాలనకు కేంద్రమైన సచివాలయంలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణ చేసుకొని ఒక స్ఫూర్తిని పరిపాలనలో తీసుకొచ్చినాం. ఈనాడు తెలంగాణలో ఉన్న అన్ని జిల్లా కేంద్ర కార్యాలయాలలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణను ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని జరుపుకోవడం ద్వారా ప్రజల యొక్క ఆలోచనను దళితులు, గిరిజనులు, ఆదివాసీలు, మైనారిటీల యొక్క ఆకాంక్షల్ని నెరవేర్చడానికి ప్రతినిత్యం స్ఫూర్తి పొందాలని తమ దినచర్య ప్రారంభమైనప్పుడు తెలంగాణ తల్లి యొక్క ఆశీర్వాదం స్ఫూర్తిని తీసుకొని సంక్షేమాన్ని, అభివృద్ధిని ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్లే విధంగా ఒక బలమైన సంకల్పాన్ని అందించాలి అని ఈనాడు మా ప్రభుత్వం నిర్ణయం తీసుకొని ఈ విగ్రహావిష్కరణ కార్యక్రమాన్ని మనం ప్రారంభించుకున్నాం. అదేవిధంగా మీకు అందరికీ తెలుసు, తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం యొక్క ఆకాంక్ష 2004 ఎన్నికల సందర్భంగా శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారు కరీంనగర్ గడ్డ మీద నుంచి ఈ ప్రజలకు ఒక మాట ఇచ్చారు. మీ ఆలోచన, ఆకాంక్ష నాకు తెలుసు, తప్పకుండా నెరవేరుతుంది అని. ఇచ్చిన మాట ప్రకారం ఎన్ని ఒడిదుడుకులు వచ్చినా, ఎన్ని అవాంతరాలు వచ్చినా అధిగమించి శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ఆవిష్కరణకు సంపూర్ణంగా సహకరించారు. ఈనాడు స్వరాష్ట్ర కళ నిజమై ఈరోజు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో నిటారుగా నిలబడి సంక్షేమము, అభివృద్ధిని దేశంలోనే నెంబర్ 1గా తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం తీర్చిదిద్దుకుంటున్నది. అలాంటి గొప్ప నాయకురాలు, ఇచ్చిన మాటకు కట్టుబడి ప్రజల ఆకాంక్ష నెరవేర్చిన గొప్ప నాయకురాలు శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారి జన్మదినం కూడా డిసెంబర్ 9 కావడం మా అందరికీ సంపూర్ణమైన సంతోషాన్ని కలిగించే ఈ పర్వదినం ప్రతి సంవత్సరం తెలంగాణ తల్లి అవతరణ దినోత్సవాలతో పాటు శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారి జన్మదిన ఉత్సవాలను కూడా 4 కోట్ల తెలంగాణ ప్రజలు, తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం ఉన్నంతకాలం జరుపుకుంటాం. ఎప్పటికీ మా గుండెల్లో, మా రాష్ట్ర పరిపాలన విధానంలో, మా సంక్షేమ అభివృద్ధి కార్యక్రమాలలో శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారి స్ఫూర్తి, డాక్టర్ మన్మోహన్ సింగ్ గారి యొక్క విజన్ ప్రస్ఫుటంగా అమలు జరుగుతుంది. ఈ సమ్మిట్ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొన్న వివిధ దేశాల నుంచి వచ్చిన ప్రతినిధులకు, ఈ దేశంలో ఉన్న పారిశ్రామికవేత్తలకు, ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని విజయవంతం చేసిన అధికారులకందరికీ మరొక్కసారి తెలంగాణ తల్లి అవతరణ దినోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియజేస్తూ మీ అందరి దగ్గర సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను. ధన్యవాదాలు.
Honorable CM has greeted all the dignitaries from all over the world. On behalf of Honorable CM, Honorable Deputy CM and Honorable Ministers, Honorable Advisors, Government of Telangana is thankful to all the guests here. కోటి తెలుగుల బంగారు కొండ కింద పరచు కొండట్టి సరస్సు లోపల వసించి పొద్దు పొద్దున అందాల పూలు పూయి నా తెలంగాణ తల్లి కంజాతవల్లి అన్న దాశరథిని గుర్తు చేసుకుంటూ ఇప్పుడు ఇదే హాల్లో సెషన్ ఆరంభమవుతుంది. జీనోమ్ వ్యాలీకి వచ్చిన సెషన్. హాల్ నెంబర్ 1 జీనోమ్ వ్యాలీ, హాల్ నెంబర్ 2 స్పోర్ట్స్, హాల్ నెంబర్ 3 టూరిజం, హాల్ నెంబర్ 4 $3 trillion economy. I would like to repeat, concerned panel speakers, dignitaries from different parts are requested to be available at respective halls. Hall number 1 Genome Valley, hall number 2 Sports, hall number 3 Tourism, hall number 4 $3 trillion economy. These are the subjects. Thanks to one and all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to begin.
గౌతమ్ గారు ఈరోజు ఈ 4 హాళ్లలో జరిగే సెషన్స్ యొక్క వివరాలు అందించారు శ్రీ గౌతమ్ ఐఏఎస్ గారు. వాటిని డిఫరెంట్ ఫీల్డ్స్ నుంచి వచ్చిన ఎక్స్పర్ట్స్, గెస్ట్, డిగ్నిటరీస్ ప్రతి సెషన్లో కూడా మనస వాచ కర్మణ పాల్గొని ఆనరబుల్ డిప్యూటీ సీఎం ఒక మంచి మాట అన్నారు. గౌరవనీయులైన మల్లు భట్టి విక్రమార్క గారు, డాక్యుమెంట్ అంటే ఇదేదో ప్రభుత్వ ఉత్తర్వు కాదు, డాక్యుమెంట్ అంటే మీరందరూ ఖచ్చితంగా చప్పట్లు కొడతారు డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు మాట వింటే. డాక్యుమెంట్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ప్రజల పత్రం. ఇది పీపుల్స్ వాళ్ళ యొక్క ప్రజల యొక్క అభిప్రాయాన్ని అద్దం పట్టేదే ఈ విజన్ డాక్యుమెంట్ అని చెప్పారు. ఇలాంటి సందర్భాలు గుర్తు చేసుకుంటూ కొద్దిసేపట్లోనే ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం గారు వేదికపైకి వస్తారు. యాజ్ పర్ ది ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ సీనియర్ పోలీస్ ఆఫీసర్స్ ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఒక మీడియా మిత్రులు తప్ప మిగతా వాళ్ళంతా దయచేసి వెనక్కి వెళ్ళి అవకాశం ఉంటే కూర్చోండి లేదా నిలబడి కార్యక్రమాన్ని విజయవంతం చేయండి. ఎవరు నిలబడి ఉండకూడదని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాం. May I request the attention of all the guests here, all the participants. Kindly be occupied in your seats, please. Honorable CM ఇంకొక 3 నిమిషాలు ఇక్కడికి వస్తారు. గౌరవనీయులైన మంత్రివర్యులు, సలహాదారులు, చైర్పర్సన్స్ ముందు వరుసలో కూర్చోవలసిగా రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాం. చాలామంది నిలబడి ఉన్నారండి. నిలబడే వాళ్ళు దయచేసి వెనక్కి వెళ్ళండి. వేదికకి ఎడంవైపు కుడివైపు నిలబడి ఉన్నవాళ్ళు మీ విద్యుక్త ధర్మ నిర్వహణలో మీ డ్యూటీలో ఉంటే తప్ప మీరు ఇక్కడ నిలబడి ఉండకూడదని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నారు సీనియర్ పోలీస్ ఆఫీసర్స్. ప్లీజ్ ట్రై టు హెల్ప్. సమర శంఖమునూది సమ్మక్క సారక్క తెలంగాణ యోధుల బలము చూపి, సమర శంఖమునూది సమ్మక్క సారక్క తెలంగాణ యోధుల బలము చూపి, రామప్ప గుడిలోని ఇప్పుడు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా అన్ని జిల్లాలలో ఆవిష్కరించుకోబోతున్న తెలంగాణ తల్లి అవతరణ దినోత్సవ సందర్భంగా మనం రాష్ట్ర సచివాలయం ముందు, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సచివాలయం ముందు ఆవిష్కరించుకున్నాం. గౌరవనీయులైన డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, గౌరవనీయులైన మంత్రులందరినీ వేదికపైకి రావాల్సిందిగా సవినయంగా ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాను. ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఆనరబుల్ డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, ఆనరబుల్ మినిస్టర్స్, ఆనరబుల్ అడ్వైజర్స్ దయచేసి వేదికపైకి రావాల్సిందిగా రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను. కోమటిరెడ్డి వెంకటరెడ్డి గారు సార్. ఆనరబుల్ డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, ఆనరబుల్ మినిస్టర్స్, ఆనరబుల్ అడ్వైజర్స్ వేదికపైకి రావాల్సిందిగా రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఆనరబుల్ డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారిని వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. ఆనరబుల్ మినిస్టర్స్, రోడ్లు భవనాల శాఖ మంత్రులు కోమటిరెడ్డి వెంకటరెడ్డి గారి విభాగం నిర్వహిస్తున్న కార్యక్రమం ఇది. తెలంగాణ తల్లి రూపుదాల్చటంలో, ఈ విగ్రహ రూపకల్పనలో ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి సూచనలు, ఉప ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి సూచనలు, మంత్రివర్గం, ప్రజాపాలన ప్రభుత్వం వారి సూచనల్ని దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని తెలంగాణ తల్లి రూపురేఖల్ని రూపకల్పన చేసిన వారిలో రోడ్లు భవనాల శాఖ చేసిన ఒక తపస్సు లాంటి ప్రయత్నం మనకు తెలుసు. For the kind information of dignitaries from outside Telugu speaking area, Telangana Talli is a symbolic goddess for Telangana state, which is, just by seeing you can have the inner meaning of that statue. Motherhood, తల్లిదనం మనకు మానవ జాతి రూపకల్పనకి అత్యంత ప్రధానమైంది. యాదేవి సర్వభూతేషు మాతృరూపేణ సంస్థిత, నమస్సస్యై 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 నమో నమః. ప్రకృతిలోని ప్రతి అణువులో కూడా మాతృ స్ఫూర్తిని, మాతృమూర్తిని దర్శించమంటోంది మన భారతీయ సంస్కృతి. అలాగే యాదేవి సర్వభూతేషు జ్ఞానరూపేణ సంస్థిత, జ్ఞానము, ధ్యానము, తపస్సు, ప్రేమ, see, as per the instruction of senior officers here, I request ministers, సీఎం ఛాంబర్లో ఉన్నారు, డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, మంత్రివర్యులంతా. For the kind information of panel speakers, dignitaries from different places, I would like to re-announce the details given by Gautam Garu. Hall 1 lo Experience Telangana Heritage, Culture and Future Ready Tourism. Honorable Minister Jupalli Krishna Rao Garu chair chestaru. Alage Telangana's Olympic Gold Quest in Hall 2, Genome Valley and Beyond, Accelerating Innovation in Life Sciences, Hall 3, towards 3 trillion economy, leveraging capital and productivity in Hall 4. After the break for 10 to 15 minutes, we will have second session. In Hall 1, Investing in Inclusion, Prospects in Affordable Housing Sector. Hall 2, Musi Rejuvenation and Blue-Green Infrastructure in Hyderabad. Hall 3, Connected Telangana, Integrated Transport and Urban-Rural Connectivity. And Hall 1 again, after lunch, Bharat Future City as a magnet for 3 trillion Telangana. Hall 2, building Telangana's entrepreneurship ecosystem, ease of doing business. Hall 3, global capability centers in Telangana from scale to impact. Hall 4, innovative PPPs, harnessing private capital towards public goods. And last session is from 4 p.m. onwards, the creative century, India's soft power and the future of entertainment. You know, many illustrious personalities from Telugu film field, Tollywood, and we have heroes from Bollywood also taking part in this. Hall 2, inclusive prosperity, expanding opportunity for everyone. Hall 3, capital and growth, investment pathways, financial hub, strategy and high impact sectors. Hall 4 is startups for 3 million economy, Telangana 2047. దీంతో పాటు సాయంకాలం 6 గంటలకి ఈవినింగ్ 6 o'clock we have Telangana Rising 2047 vision document will be launched at 6 p.m. expecting all of you to be there. And 7 we have beautiful drone show, and 7:30 onwards we have dinner and cultural show. Thank you. నా తెలంగాణ కోటి రతనాల వీణ అని దాశరథి ఆ రోజంటే ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం రేవంత్ రెడ్డి గారు ఈరోజు అంటున్నారు, నా తెలంగాణ కోటి అవకాశాల ఖజానా అంటూ. ఈ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ని సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవటానికి ఆల్ ఓవర్ ద వరల్డ్ షుడ్ లుక్ టువార్డ్స్ తెలంగాణ. దట్ ఈస్ ది డ్రీమ్ బై ప్రజాపాలనా ప్రభుత్వం. ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం గారు, ఆనరబుల్ డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, ఆనరబుల్ మినిస్టర్స్, ఆనరబుల్ అడ్వైజర్స్, ఆనరబుల్ సిఎస్ గారు, డీజీపీ గారు, ఇంకా అందరూ వేదికపైకి వేయించేసి ఉన్నారు. మనందరికీ తెలుసు, తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర సచివాలయంలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహాన్ని ప్రతిష్టాపన చేసి అదే తరహాలో అన్ని కలెక్టరేట్ ఆవరణల్లో అన్ని జిల్లాల్లో ఆ తల్లిని మనం దర్శించుకోవాలన్న సంకల్పం ప్రజాపాలనా ప్రభుత్వానిది. అందుకే ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం గారు, డిప్యూటీ సీఎం గారు, మంత్రివర్గం ఈరోజు పుష్పాంజలి ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం గారు, తెలంగాణ తల్లి రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా ఆవిష్కరణ చేయబడింది. గౌరవనీయులైన ముఖ్యమంత్రి, ఉప ముఖ్యమంత్రి, మంత్రివర్యులు ఇప్పుడు పుష్పాంజలి ఘటిస్తారు. ఇక్కడ ఇదే సందర్భంలో రాష్ట్రంలోని అన్ని చోట్ల కూడా తల్లికి నమస్కరించుకుంటూ అందరూ తెలంగాణ తల్లిని హృదయ పీఠికలపై ఆవిష్కరించుకున్నాం. ఇక్కడ భాగ్యనగరంలో ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు ఇలా రిమోట్ స్విచ్ నొక్కిన తరుణంలోనే రాష్ట్రంలో అన్ని జిల్లాల్లో ఆవిష్కరించుకోబడ్డ తెలంగాణ తల్లికి నమస్కరించుకుంటూ ఇప్పుడు అందరూ గొంతెత్తి పాడదాం జయ జయ హే తెలంగాణ. తెలంగాణ స్టేట్ సాంగ్, రాష్ట్ర గీతం జయ జయ హే తెలంగాణ.
జననీ జయకేతనం ముక్కోటి గొంతుకలు ఒక్కటైన చేతనం తరతరాల చరిత గల తల్లి నీరాజనం పద పదాన నీ పిల్లలు ప్రణమిల్లిన శుభతరుణం. జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ. జీవన చావళీలు చాలువాన కవి గాయక వైతాళిక కళల మంజీరాలు జాతిని జాగృత పరచే గీతాల జన జాతర అనునిత్యము నీ గానం అమ్మ నీవే మా ప్రాణం. జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ తెలంగాణ జయ జయ తెలంగాణ.
తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా జయధ్వానాలు ప్రతిరోజు ప్రతిపూట జయధ్వానాలు అందరికీ స్ఫూర్తిని అందించాలని, తెలంగాణ కీర్తిని ప్రపంచవ్యాప్తం చేయాలని ప్రజాపాలన ప్రభుత్వం తలపెట్టిన గ్లోబల్ సమ్మిట్ ఇంత అద్భుతంగా, అర్థవంతంగా, ఆర్థికంగా, హార్దికంగా ముందుకు సాగుతున్న వేదికపైన గౌరవనీయులు ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి సందేశం. ఆనరబుల్ సీఎం's మెసేజ్.
తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో వివిధ జిల్లాల కలెక్టర్ కార్యాలయాలలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణ కార్యక్రమాన్ని భారత్ ఫ్యూచర్ సిటీ, తెలంగాణ రైజింగ్ గ్లోబల్ సమ్మిట్ వేదికగా ఉప ముఖ్యమంత్రి వర్యులు బట్టి విక్రమార్క గారు, సహచర మంత్రివర్గ సభ్యులు, పార్లమెంట్ సభ్యులు, శాసనమండలి సభ్యులు, శాసనసభ్యులు, తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో పెట్టుబడులు పెట్టిన పారిశ్రామికవేత్తల సమక్షంలో కేంద్ర రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వ అధికారుల సమక్షంలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణ, ఈ కార్యక్రమం జరుపుకోవడం ఎంతో సంతోషం. ఒక శుభ పరిణామం. ఇక్కడున్న మిత్రులకు, దేశ ప్రజలందరికీ తెలుసు, డిసెంబర్ 9, 2009 నాడు యూపీఏ చైర్పర్సన్ శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారి నేతృత్వంలో ఆనాటి భారత ప్రధానమంత్రి డాక్టర్ మన్మోహన్ సింగ్ గారు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ఏర్పాటు ప్రక్రియను ప్రారంభించిందని ఆనాటి హోంశాఖ మహాత్ములు చిదంబరం గారు ప్రకటించిన ఒక మంచి రోజు. చిదంబరం గారు డిసెంబర్ 9, 2009 నాడు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ఏర్పాటు ప్రక్రియను ప్రారంభిస్తున్నామని ప్రకటించడంతో 6 దశాబ్దాల తెలంగాణ ప్రజల యొక్క 4 కోట్ల ప్రజల యొక్క ఆకాంక్షను ప్రతిబింబిస్తూ యూపీఏ ప్రభుత్వం తీసుకున్న నిర్ణయం ఈ ప్రాంత ప్రజలకు సంతోషాన్ని, ఆత్మగౌరవాన్ని అందించినాయి. అందుకే తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం ఏర్పడిన తర్వాత మొట్టమొదటిసారి ఏర్పడిన ప్రజాపాలన ఇందిరమ్మ రాజ్యంలో డిసెంబర్ 9కు ఉన్న ప్రాధాన్యతను గుర్తించి 60 సంవత్సరాల ప్రజల యొక్క బలమైన ఆకాంక్షను నెరవేర్చిన పర్వదినాన్ని తెలంగాణ తల్లి అవతరణ దినోత్సవంగా జరుపుకోవాలని తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం అధికారిక నిర్ణయం తీసుకొని ప్రతి సంవత్సరం డిసెంబర్ 9 నాడు తెలంగాణ తల్లి ఆవిష్కరణ ఉత్సవాలను జరుపుకుంటున్నాం. అందులో భాగంగానే ఈనాడు పోయిన సంవత్సరం రాష్ట్ర పరిపాలనకు కేంద్రమైన సచివాలయంలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణ చేసుకొని ఒక స్ఫూర్తిని పరిపాలనలో తీసుకొచ్చినాం. ఈనాడు తెలంగాణలో ఉన్న అన్ని జిల్లా కేంద్ర కార్యాలయాలలో తెలంగాణ తల్లి విగ్రహ ఆవిష్కరణను, ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని జరుపుకోవడం ద్వారా ప్రజల యొక్క ఆలోచనను, దళితులు, గిరిజనులు, ఆదివాసీలు, మైనారిటీల యొక్క ఆకాంక్షల్ని నెరవేర్చడానికి ప్రతినిత్యం స్ఫూర్తి పొందాలని తమ దినచర్య ప్రారంభమైనప్పుడు తెలంగాణ తల్లి యొక్క ఆశీర్వాదం, స్ఫూర్తిని తీసుకొని సంక్షేమాన్ని, అభివృద్ధిని ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్లే విధంగా ఒక బలమైన సంకల్పాన్ని అందించాలి అని ఈనాడు మా ప్రభుత్వం నిర్ణయం తీసుకొని ఈ విగ్రహావిష్కరణ కార్యక్రమాన్ని మనం ప్రారంభించుకున్నాం. అదేవిధంగా మీకు అందరికీ తెలుసు, తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం యొక్క ఆకాంక్ష 2004 ఎన్నికల సందర్భంగా శ్రీమతి సోనియా గాంధీ గారు కరీంనగర్ గడ్డ మీద నుంచి ఈ ప్రజలకు ఒక మాట ఇచ్చారు. మీ ఆలోచన, ఆకాంక్ష నాకు తెలుసు.
Under the platform of One Bio, this is a platform where all the companies can use this platform, having access to the technology and come up with innovation. That is, and I always keep telling elders over here that is high time what we would come up with $1 billion molecule. So we have a hope and we have a trust in the entrepreneurial spirit which they keep on dynamically moving. I see many entrepreneurs who have lots of expertise in this domain still have the fire in the belly. I can see somebody like Revanth Reddy garu, he comes to me with a great other thinking that he wants to come up what after 25 years what this healthcare needs. So that that is the spirit of what we see, and we would like to share these experiences to our industry partners and also try to learn from them how the public policies or the policies of the government should be shaped in the next phase of 25 years, what we are calling as Telangana Rising 2047. the vision document with a vision of yours will be included in the release in the later part of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for laying out a very grand vision. And you have also, I'll come back to some of the specifics that you have mentioned. When we look into the major ecosystems, be it the Boston, Cambridge, or if you look into the Basel or the San Diego cluster, what is very evident is the life sciences ecosystem in Telangana is perhaps the topmost in terms of catering to affordable healthcare. So I think that is something which is a very significant aspect, and we will be focusing a bit more on the volume and as well as the affordability aspects of how the state would spin out these technologies. So just a quick follow-up question. You have also been championing through your leadership, creating a holistic ecosystem in terms of having the best in IT infrastructure. There's a lot happening on the IT sector. There is a lot happening on the educational sector. And you have put in all the elements that are essential ingredients for creating a very vibrant ecosystem. In this context, specifically coming to the topic of the life sciences, the next generation areas, just wanted to request your thoughts. How is Telangana positioning in the frontier areas like cell and gene therapy, synthetic biology and fermentation, AI-driven drug discovery, as well as digital health?
You know, our focus is very clear. By 2047, we have to grow. The life sciences sector should lead the globe. At least we have to be in that 5 areas of growth. And what we see is we want to lead the next wave of the life sciences innovation. And we are all you people are here not just to participate, and you are the leaders, you just want to lead. Around the world, you know, right now what we are seeing is the world is being reshaped by the new technologies, the new therapies, and especially the digital transformation. How best we can position ourselves, preparing for this future with lots of care, scale and intent. That's the real reason I was mentioning about One Bio, wherein the company can access to the biomanufacturing infrastructure, one. We are also investing in lots of talent creation and promoting high quality research. Through the upcoming, first is we are coming up with a life sciences policy and pooling the talent through the life sciences school. This is first ever in India, and elders of this sector, the life sciences sector, have suggested, and we are working on it by January 2nd week to show and to reflect to all the world how we are shaping the skill. We are planning to unveil our life sciences policy in the WEF, in the Davos. And, world-class institutions should be there. Our line of objective is, we have ISB here, we have IIT here, and why can't we have this sort of a school of the life sciences over here, which have the world-class quality? And we would, through this, positioning ourselves in terms of providing the skill, and providing the infrastructure through One Bio, or giving the utmost importance to the next generation students in terms of providing and instituting a life sciences university, a school. The basic objective of this school is to have the courses, the people who are interested in the life sciences, and at the same time, the company professionals or the executives who need reskilling and upskilling. And this life sciences school shall be useful for them. And the innovation really takes place at their level. This is what we are trying to do. And point two said is, while we are trying to project this, the elders on the days, because their input is more important. How to translate our policy our vision into action is into their hands. We are there only to facilitate, to give impetus to their thoughts. So this is our vision to make our Telangana to lead the next wave in terms of the life sciences innovation.
Thank you, sir. I think you have kind of mentioned about the talent pool creation, which is going to continuously contribute as we embark on this strong journey of innovation and at the same time continuously evolve the different paradigms. So let me then shift to, I think we are looking at 3 focus areas which would help strategically plan the entire vision for 2047 and upping the innovation to the next level. The first would be on the volume to value, because it's often believed that India is third in terms of pharmaceuticals, in terms of volume, but we are somewhere around the 13th or the 14th in terms of value. And it is believed that a significant contribution to value would come from these complex products, sterile injectables, and then we are looking into the new therapies. So there is clearly a wave that's been witnessed in terms of strategic positioning into the complex areas. So with a focus on volume to value, let me first request Dr. Satyanarayana Chava. So India's API competitiveness, in fact we have mentioned this in some of the meetings earlier that I have personally heard, is shifting from a cost advantage to an innovation advantage. What are the capabilities that the Genome Valley and ecosystem should build to support specialty APIs, fermentation-driven products, and also complex biologics? And we know that Laurus has been making a foray into some of this very complex product development. I would love to hear some of your thoughts on this.
In the current industry environment, there is a significant need to invest in innovation and also manufacturing. India needs both. We are not a service-based economy, not yet. So we need manufacturing. To get the competitive advantage, we need to overlap innovation and manufacturing. The bigger the overlap, the bigger the success. To do that, we have to create some centers of excellence. For example, which you are heading, Center of Excellence for Flow Chemistry. India has to demonstrate its capabilities. And India has done significant contribution to many areas. For example, as everybody is aware, Hyderabad is a capital of vaccines. So, Hyderabad-based companies also supply 75% of the world HIV drugs. So that is also a big contribution made. They also made the HIV treatment more affordable. In 2010, HIV treatment used to cost $350 per year per patient. Today, you can remove 1 zero. So it is not even $35 per year per treatment for an HIV patient in the emerging world. Actually, it is $30. That means it is one bottle of treatment per month costs $2.5. That is less than a cup of Starbucks coffee. So that is the kind of innovation done by the companies based out of Hyderabad. They couple scale and knowledge together. That is one good example. And second example is the Indian industry is fortunately in the earlier days was dominated by chemistry. But the understanding of biology is so much right now, I think people are focusing more onto biology. If you look at the nature is more powerful than all of us. So the way you understand biology can define the future of healthcare industry, in my opinion. Enzymes, fermentation, cell therapy, gene therapy, drug conjugates, all these will define the emergence of especially Hyderabad in this. See, India is known as a reverse engineering pharmaceutical industry. China is also did that, but China is not a fast follower. They became a fast innovators now. So 1/3 of the drugs discovered in the global scenario comes from China. So we have to see how quickly we can become from fast followers to fast innovators. That means we have to invest in basic education also. See, in the Western world, a lot of basic research, science is nurtured in the universities. It is lacking here. My request to Minister is invest very heavily into universities. Universities will create the future of the country. As you mentioned very appropriately, creating a university for life sciences, healthcare industry is one good step towards that. As a company, we also invested in cell culture. We invested in startups. So the culture of investing in startup is also increasing. In the last year, I heard there were 2,000 startups in biology. So that is an indication the number of companies will come up, number of new molecules will come up. As Minister is requesting in his every meeting, when India will become, Hyderabad will create $1 billion new drug. I think, in my opinion, it is not going to happen in small molecules. It is going to happen in a large molecules. I think that is the kind of talent Genome Valley is also creating. And Genome Valley is celebrating 25th year this year. In the 25 years, Genome Valley has grown 25 times, I can tell you very clearly. So we celebrate, we were in Genome Valley for the last 20 years, and the growth we have seen in Genome Valley is remarkable. That was because of the good governments and also good governance and also the availability of talent within this region attracted so many people. As Minister said, we have 30,000 scientists in Genome Valley. You name any company in India, they have a R&D there. You name most of the global companies have also presence there. So, in my opinion, the new modalities like flow chemistry, biocatalysis, fermentation, cell and gene therapy, India can put, and Hyderabad especially, can take lead in these modalities. Instead of following, we can have the ability to lead. That means if you have to lead, you have to choose the recent advances in science. We can't take the very old chemistry and try to do that. So if companies focus on cell therapy, gene therapy, drug conjugates, biology, flow chemistry, I'm sure Hyderabad companies and companies based out of Genome Valley can lead the space.
Truly, I think creating strategic leadership and impact, Laura's involvement in trying to bring together CAR-T at a both accessible and affordable via ImmunoAct, these are something which is kind of inspiring, not just for Telangana, but for the entire country as well. Let me shift to Dr. Madan Mohan Reddy and continuing the discussion on volume to value transition. While retaining the dominance on volumes, I think it's very important to create high impact innovation at scale. Aurobindo has made strong moves in injectables, biosimilars, and specialty products. What strategic advantages does Telangana offer for scaling these value-oriented verticals?
Over the past few years, Aurobindo invested in substantial investment in injectables, biosimilars, peptides, hormones, and some complex molecules. These are all required a lot of money to invest on these products. So where we required is the strong ecosystem. Without that, I don't think we can achieve the results. Telangana provides exactly that. If you take three areas of importance for this ecosystem, one of that is that infrastructure. The infrastructure is exceptional in Telangana. Genome Valley, Medical Device Park, existing mega parks, future more number of industrial parks like Genome Valley will give entire value chain. from discovery to process development, process optimization, commercial, and then in the large scale way, it can help. These are all can happen only when there is a good environment in the ecosystem, especially like the utilities, especially what you can call it as an power. Quality power must be there for the industry, and the land availability, and then skilled manpower. All these things, it will help to industry to go for this type of development. The second important concern is the talent pool. Talent pool in Telangana is unmatchable in India. The institutes like DRILS, CCMB, IACT, NIPER, and there are pharmacy colleges, biotech schools. These are all continuously generating lot of professionals in the line of this regulatory, this analytical experts, then microbiologists. This is that what these institutes are doing to help this ecosystem make sure that we are all successful. The third point is government partnership. It has been a real differentiate. These environment approvals, the product approvals, these are all will go for that quickly can scale up and go into the commercial. These are also help. These are the three areas where I feel there is a lot of dependency on this particular Telangana on this subject.
Thank you, Dr. Madhu Mohan Reddy. If we were to look at specific areas from the context of 2047, which one do you think would require a greater priority, and also we need to improve the ecosystem? Long-acting injectables, peptide therapeutics, or in general the complex generics?
Before that, actually here today, if you want to sustain this, especially today regulations, I think everyone might be seeing, day by day, the expectations are going up like anything. Thanks to technology and then regulators, the way they are working on this, their expectations are becoming very, very stringent. If you want to meet those expectations, especially I feel there are 4 areas where we should be able to concentrate. One is Center of Excellence for Quality Systems. For this, we need facilities to provide GMP experiences and stimulation for aseptic behaviors and media fields, smoke studies. These are all required some type of stimulation studies for the students before joining with the industry. It will help industry to meet those requirements, whatever that regulators are expecting. Probably this will help us to quickly can apply at the shop floor. The other one is that collaboration with the regulatory science platform, where we need to have, government has to create a hub for this type of meetings, academic and industry and regulators all together, to make sure that we have workshops, mock audits, mock inspections, scientific advice forms, and ICH harmonized training programs must happen. That is where at least we can have strengthened this, particularly on this expectation of the regulators. The third point is rightly said by Sridhar Babu garu about digital quality transformation is very important for the industry. Quickly we need to go into EBMRs, MIS, and LIMS, and whatever is possible in the industry, try to convert into a digital where we can minimize the risk. At least we can have a better compliance, and also the partners who is going to work with us, they will be happy with this type of systems where we have. It is going to be an advantage for the industry to move forward. The fourth one is that, what is that workforce development? Even though there are people are working at the shop floors, always we need to continuously, we need to work towards that improvement of their skill. We should be able to have a lot of regulatory meetings, training programs. This is that what industry has to spend a lot of money on this to make sure that on the compliance part.
Thank you for your valuable insight. I think these are very important areas to consider as we kind of strengthen the ecosystem creation. Let me quickly have your views. Granules is synonymous to, first in line defense kind of in the healthcare. You have produced a lot of high volume products, and we now see that you are transitioning into more complex products. You have shown leadership in integrated, the end-to-end kind of a pharma business. There are some news that you are also going to step into peptides and peptide CDMO. I'd like to have your views. Is this a conscious transition from volume-based to high-value and niche areas?
Hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Srinivas Garu, and good morning to everybody on the panel and Sridhar Reddy Babu Garu. First of all, I'd just like to say that I resonate with everything Satyanarayana Garu and Madan Mohan Reddy Garu said about innovation and moving from high volume to high value. But from my perspective, one thing that I definitely want to emphasize is how much ever high value products you get into, I think it's very important for companies to focus on the basic essentials. And value can be defined in very many ways. Even a simple product that a patient needs on a day-to-day basis, if made in a very different way, can be, in a very innovative way, can be made very cost efficient. And that in itself can create a lot of tangible and intangible value for a country like India and for a state like Telangana. Today, even though Telangana and India were known for high volume products and now moving to high value innovative products, the basics of those products, the KSMs, the APIs, etc., a lot of them are still imported from China. And that is something I personally think we should focus on in a very different way. I'm not saying just cost, but make them in a sustainable manner. So in my opinion, while we and even Granules focuses on more value-added products and also on more innovation-led products, our innovation and our request to the government is to support companies like us in a way where, say, green technologies, say continuous improvement processes, energy-saving route processes are all provided grants for, provided subsidies for, or encouraged. And I think that would provide some sort of a strategic national infrastructure that Telangana should be proud of. And doing that will put us ahead of many other countries in the world.
Thank you. I think you kind of alluded to what would also follow, to have a quick view on building the greener and more sustainable ecosystem for the infrastructure. Dr. Anand Kumar, your perspective would be very important because we are a volume-driven vaccine player, but there appear to be important areas like vector-based vaccines, mRNA-based platforms, and also looking at recombinant subunit constructs. How is ILL, Indian Immunologicals, navigating through this transition to more complex areas, and how do you think the ecosystem can gear up to support a kind of a leadership position again in this high technology, high intensive areas?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for this question. We are very fortunate to be living in a developing country like India, where whether it be an animal vaccine or a human vaccine, majority of the procurement is done by the government. So this value should not be purely considered in monetary terms. It should be based on the impact that a product creates. So in India, because government procures majority of the vaccines and provides free to our citizens, still it will be affordability will be a very, very important parameter. And in terms of how the vaccine world has changed post-COVID, I mean, if you see the number of pharmaceutical companies in Hyderabad or probably in India, there are several thousands. But if you see the number of vaccine companies in India who are seriously into business, there are only 8 companies in India. And two main reasons why this is so is vaccine requires a lot of capital investment, and also the regulatory procedures for approval are also very, very long. So to sustain this, it requires a lot of investment also and also a lot of patience. Now, having said that, a lot of changes are happening, especially COVID gave an opportunity for many, many technologies which were just developed at the university levels but were always kept on the shelves. But COVID gave a great opportunity to bring them all, especially vaccines which used mRNA and also the adenoviral vector vaccines. See, we as an organization, we have been in Hyderabad since 1982. As a company which has made both animal and human vaccines, we are the single largest contributor to India achieving self-sufficiency in the field of vaccines. Now, what would be the future like? Now, with newer technologies and also newer mechanisms of delivery, this game is going to change. One is, there is a lot of emphasis on mRNA vaccines, which got introduced as a part of the COVID, which gives you tremendous speed to develop. And it also doesn't require huge capital investment. And so what this would do is it would allow many players to come into this space. And currently the mRNA vaccines are prohibitively expensive because of the technology at the present state. But as months and years come by, I'm sure, because there are now self-amplifying mRNA, which the dose required is 1/10 of what is required at the present moment. So that will significantly reduce the cost. And also now artificial intelligence is being used in vaccines in a big way. For example, artificial intelligence is used to select a vaccine antigen within a virus or bacteria which can give you a longer duration of immunity. See, duration of immunity, especially given our population of 1.4 billion, it's not feasible or practical to bring people into the clinics for vaccination very often. So the vaccines developed for the future should be something where you administer once and the frequency should be very, very minimal. So that is another area which currently companies, including ours, are working on using AI to detect and select antigens which can give a longer duration of immunity. Then third thing is, even for a particular virus, several regions have different strains and serotypes. So it's a supply chain nightmare to make country-specific vaccines for a particular virus. So now attempts are being made where we can create a vaccine with a broader, like a broad spectrum antibiotic, also a broader vaccine which can cover many, many strains which are prevalent in other geographies. Fourth one is, there's a new area. Every time we know about a vaccine, we always think about it as an injectable. But then now many, many oral and intranasal vaccines also are being developed because this offers ease of administration, and also for our kind of population, it's very easy to administer many thousands in one go. So we actually, during the COVID time, along with Griffith University, developed intranasal vaccine for COVID-19, which was very successful. But because it was a live attenuated vaccine, it had to go through a long regulatory grind, and that's why we couldn't make it available at that time. Another thing is delivery. Now, vaccines we always think as an injectable. Now there are many technologies which are being developed in the form of patches. So especially for children, you need, the needle is a very painful thing, and also the needle uses a lot of plastic. So now microarray patches are all being developed, which help in delivery. So we also are developing patches for our measles rubella vaccine. Also we are trying out for the hepatitis B vaccine. Another thing is about thermostability. Maintaining a cold chain, also supplying vaccines through the cold chain is a very, very expensive affair. So quite a lot of effort is also going on trying to make vaccines which are much more thermostable. So these are all areas which we are developing, and of course in India or in any developing country, while you address the science part, always you should make in mind that it has to be accessible and also affordable. And we have been here in Hyderabad, our first manufacturing plant started in 1982 in Gachibowli. And later we also have 2 plants now in the Genome Valley Biotech Park. The first one started in 2012. And now we are establishing another plant spending about 700 crores, which will be mainly for animal vaccines, both for India and also for outside.
Thank you, Dr. Anand Kumar. Just wanted to kind of transition into, there is another big expectation in terms of sustainability, digital integration, because all these are becoming expectations from the global regulatory agencies. On one side, we are navigating foray into complex products and complex biotechnology. In the context of Indian immunologicals, how are you kind of transitioning the manufacturing into a more sustainable manufacturing? Your quick views on that would be very helpful.
So, we are a very socially conscious organization. We have tried to balance as much as possible between profits and social good. We have, caught on to this One Health concept many decades ago. Today, One Health is being widely talked about, but IL has been doing this One Health because we are making both animal and human vaccines, and we significantly contribute to the health of both. The third element in all this is the environment. See, any manufacturing activity will cause some amount of harm to the environment that we live in. So it's all about how do we minimize that so that we leave this planet in a state where our future generation can live, in a very, very happy manner. So we at IL have undertaken many initiatives which will reduce our dependence on fossil fuel. For example, earlier days we used to use high-speed diesel for all our generators and boilers, but now significantly for our boilers we switched over to natural gases and LPG or CNG. Similarly, we have solar installations wherever possible. And all our manufacturing plants are zero liquid discharge. That means we don't leave anything into the open. So we recycle and reuse nearly 30 to 35% of the water in our manufacturing plants in such a manner that our consumption also is significantly reduced, because you have to be very, very cautious about the power and water utilization. Plus, we have automated a lot of our manufacturing in such a manner that we can make more and more by using very less resources. So automation did give about 20 to 25% increase in yield. So thereby we are able to use very little resources. And also, like any other organization which is very, very active in the space of quality, all the systems that we implement ensures that all the waste is reduced to a significant level. So many, many objectives of this nature, and also as a part of our CSR activities, we significantly contribute in the space of providing biogas units to many, many households. So there also we address the environment aspects this way.
Thank you, Dr. Anand Kumar. In the remaining few minutes, maybe I'll try to request a quick view of Dr. Satyanarayana Chava. I know Laurus has always been a leader in absorbing new technologies, both at R&D to manufacturing. What kind of your thoughts on how we can, the ecosystem can support a transition into greener manufacturing, and also your thoughts on what policy would be kind of enabling this transition in a very effective way? Because at the end of the day, we'll have to balance sustainability and affordability together.
See, in my opinion, to become competitive in the small molecule manufacturing, I always feel use of flow chemistry, continuous manufacturing, and use of biocatalysis in the small molecule manufacturing will put the country in the forefront. See, if you look at, everybody talks about sustainability. If you have to become a sustainable company and put a sustainable product, it has to be cheaper. It has to be cleaner. It has to be greener. It has to be safer. That means you have to make your processes cleaner, greener and safer, and also cheaper. If you say, I'm a sustainable company, sustainable product, but pay me 20% more, nobody is going to pay. So, for you to become competitive, you have to embrace all these technologies, use biology wherever is feasible, use continuous manufacturing wherever is feasible. I think if you use these technologies, I think country will make good progress.
Moving on to Ms. Chigurupati. There is this transition of manufacturing to sustainability, and there is a lot about science-based targets initiative and looking into the carbon footprint, circularity. We know that Granules is making strategic moves in terms of, complying with these expectations. Can you please maybe highlight for all of us what is Granules doing and why?
And why? I think Dr. Tava just answered that. It's the need of the hour. But I think Granules has been one of the first companies that has declared its SBTi targets for net zero by 2050, which is very much in line with even Telangana's targets and the country's targets, and 42% reduction by 2030. Of carbon emissions. The second thing that we have done is we have also committed to a progressive shift to 100% renewable energy by 2032. We've also adopted a lot of green chemistry and, like Dr. Chava said, continuous processing, etc., into the most basic products and even the future value-added products that we are embarking upon right now. And on the G side of things, Pharma Pathashala is one thing that we have really taken upon ourselves, and it's actually something that Chairman, it's very close to Chairman's heart, that will actually enable skill development to do all these things going forward. So in Pharma Pathashala, we essentially hire children from rural areas, 16 to 17-year-old boys and girls. We educate them, we teach them industry-specific skills, then we give them employment in our company for 3 years and a diploma while all their costs are taken care of. So I think all these put together are a part of sustainability targets, ESG ratings, as you can imagine. And Granules has been amongst, we just got an EcoVadis rating about 6 months back, where we're in the 95th percentile and we have a gold rating, which only the top 5% of companies in the world have. So this is one area of focus that we have as a company. And I think it's very important for every company to adopt this.
I think you have made a very important point, because when we look into the adherence to Scope 1, Scope 2 and Scope 3 emissions, we're also trying to look at creation of an entire ecosystem and backward integration so that this becomes a preferred destination hub for all the global players. Sir, a quick view, Dr. Madan Mohan Reddy, on how Aurobindo is really taking this transition forward and the leadership from, especially when we look at energy compliance and looking at the adoption of the greener practices. You have obviously taken by the entire fermentation game into the next level. Some insights along this context.
By 2047, sustainability will be the regulatory requirement, not a choice. All industry thinking to not only, there are two ways industry always work on that. One is for the benefit of the industry, other is that for the nature of that, whatever that sustainability requirement. As per Aurobindo concern, last couple of years, we are spending a lot of time and energy on certain parameters where we are going, majority of the products we are working on the enzymatic routes, and we are also working especially the manufacturing. We are working on the continuous manufacturing so that we can minimize that wastages. Like I can give the example of that one of the product, like 6-APA. That is penicillin G to 6-APA is the one process. Before we used to do is a chemical reaction. Now it is an enzymatic reaction where water is the only one requirement. There is no any chemical involved in this. Enzyme and then water is the requirement. So today what Dr. Satyanarayana said rightly, China, they are all working on this purely, every product they are working towards that enzymatic routes. The reason is we can minimize this, all these solvents, all these chemicals. So every company is working in the direction. And also on the energy part, if you go and then see today, We are all working towards this, solar systems, where we are spending a lot of money on this, especially power is the second highest cost in our manufacturing, after this raw materials. The utility cost is the highest cost in our manufacturing. Next is the manpower cost is the major. These three, effectively if you work, I think any industry will go in a very profitable way, you can see. Today, all organizations, they are constantly working on the AI technologies, and then all automations, especially in the manufacturing area. So each and every portion we are making, it is not like that our objective is reducing manpower. How qualitatively you can deliver the product is the catch. If you don't have this, I don't think we can win this, and then we will be there in this, especially in the pharmaceutical business.
Thank you, Dr. Madan Mohan Reddy. I think we have got some really important insights, and if I look back into the Genome Valley, it's about having the right DNA and having the right building blocks which will code for the right RNA and eventually the protein. Before we conclude, we've also got some very important aspects of what would be the desirable policy-based recommendations and infrastructure creation. Sir, I would like to request, before we conclude, what message would you like to give to the global innovators as well as investors to consider Telangana as a long-term life sciences destination?
Yes, thanks for all the input given by the industry leaders over here. And in fact, all the global leaders and the leaders from India who are all here. And everybody knows over a period of time, Hyderabad and the state of Telangana has become the vaccine capital. I can't say thanks to COVID, but it is exhibited. When world required us, you all people were there, and Telangana proved its mettle. Thanks to everybody over here. And secondly, over the past 2 years, when we set the process of our governance, and our Chief Minister and our government, has reflected to the industry partners that all the policy initiatives by the earlier governments will be forwarded or pushed forward. And over the past 30 years, if you have seen, the industry ecosystem over here has proven that even though different ideological, political leaders exist on governance, our perspective, our focus will be to develop the industry and to see that the fruits of this industry will be shared among our people. And that's how, these 2 years too, we were very keen to enhance the policy initiatives, which shall be globally competitive, and we will rise to the global standards of our policy making. And this is how, the great excellent team what we have in the government, we could able to really get about 63,000 crores in just 2 years as investment from different global partners. And thanks to all the industry partners who have trust in us, who have accepted the leadership over here, and who would like to take the advantage of the ecosystem which is available over here. And everybody knows this, Hyderabad and this state of Telangana is home to 8 of the world's 10 pharma companies and about 2,000 life sciences firms. I wish to tell you that the firms all put together value about $100 billion over here. So my message to the prospective investor over here, whatever the great leaders on the days or off the days who you interact over a period of this day will reflect what is the great ecosystem available over here, what is the potential available over here, and what the nuances of the government is taking. And secondly, to mention, as to reacting to the industry leaders here on the days. When Satya Garu was mentioning about universities, so we are specifically trying to focus on the areas of the domain expertise universities and also the general universities, the common universities. And we have come up to all the people over here, the new initiative which our government has taken is to come up with a Young India Skills University to impart skills, only specifically to skills which are required by the industry. When we found that there is a gap between academia and the industry, so the gap has to be filled. How do we fill it? The classic example is when we have come up with the life sciences university, the skills university, and I would like to mention, it is totally industry driven. The industry captain, like Anand Mahindra, is the chairman. Government as such only facilitates the running and the governance of the university. And many industry partners, the captains have come to share the burden of teaching and training the students who come over there. And in terms of the life sciences and the pharma, I would like to mention when we have floated this initially, the first taker was Mr. Satish Reddy of Reddy Pharma, Reddy Labs. You know, 2 batches have come out, and those people who are skilled, only specifics to the life sciences, they have been attracted by mostly by the Dr. Reddy Labs, which is a win-win situation for them because they will be ready on the job, ready for the job on the day one. Likewise, we have sectoral training in this life sciences university, in this skill university. So when, our director was mentioning about to float a life sciences specific domain expertise university, we jumped into the idea, and skilling as such is a most important criteria for us, for our government too. And that's how we have come up with the life sciences university. So I wish to mention before all the global investors over here that please come and join us to build the world-class life sciences system. Telangana is a place where you should be there. With, all the people were just telling that we have the world-class infrastructure. And I'm not, selfish to say we have very, very proactive policy environment over here. And thanks to all young students and young employees who have the high quality talent here. And the spirit of the deep scientific capability is here in Hyderabad. And strong regulatory equipment is placed in Hyderabad. So these are all important aspects. When you come and partner with us, we will try to provide you all with us. We always see the global companies as a partner would be shaping their future and also they're shaping our state future. We would love to come see, not just as an investors. Please come and share our journey. Share the dream what we have for 2047. And the vision of 2047 that looks ahead. We will definitely share the vision what we have interacted with the industry leaders, and we are coming up with a policy perspective. Sir, while taking the account of, all the elders of the days who have been specifically mentioning about few things, when they've been mentioning about the frontier biology, about the flow chemistry or the biologics, or the gene therapy or synthetic biology. We are working absolutely, whatever the input what they have given is absolutely necessary to build that sort of a systems. Almost all the systems are in place. We will try to enhance and value add for it. And when Madan Mohan Reddy Garu was mentioning about the quality power, we know that the power is most important raw material for the pharma and the life sciences industry. And that is the reason after such a long time, if you have seen, we have come up with a new energy policy. This new energy policy will help industries to grow, will help industries to have access for the open access or to build their own systems of the energy building. We are also keenly stressing our point in building the green energy systems, and that's how the new energy policy is focusing on PSPs. Our new energy policy is focusing on the solar power, and new energy policies are mentioning about the power banking too. So these are the few key advantages what you have been mentioning about, sir, you are mentioning about the regulatory framework, how it should be. The regulatory framework as such, in all the 5 clusters, because I had been to Basel also. I've been trying to know the systems over there in the Basel too. The regulatory framework over there is too stringent because it is concerned about healthcare. As everybody is very conscious, all the industry leaders are also very conscious about the healthcare. So, in terms, what Mr. Madan Mohan Reddy are mentioning is to have a constant interaction between the industry and also with the regulatory framework holders and also with the policy makers. So, we would like to come up with an idea of having a regulatory flow auditors meeting with industry along with our policy makers, including me and my team. Every 6 months we will love to have that. This is the new initiative right now we are mentioning from here. And in terms of, quality power or the land availability or the talent power, I always take pride in my, talent pool and all. What Priyaji was mentioning about the green technologies, we are here for it. And what Anand Kumar was mentioning about the affordability, how you create, we take the conscious of it. Ultimately, I would like to tell to all the global investors over here and the partners who have sailed with us for over the past 30 to 40 years. Our mention is from pharma pillar. We have to grow as India's pharma's engine, where we'll become the world's advanced sustainable manufacturing here. That is our future vision. And in terms of medtech, where the convergence of our pharma with the technology, because we are technology-driven state, we would love to see that, the domain expertise like the med field, the bio field, converges with the tech and becomes from the vaccine leadership to the global epicenter for frontier technology centers in biologics and the therapy. And third thing, what we are mentioning, Anandji, is the medtech pillar, where we would like to focus from India's integrated medtech hub into a global hub for intelligent device and the procreation center. We would like to come up as a pillar for that, and absolutely, what the need of our is the innovation center. We would like to powerhouse this Hyderabad as a global innovation center for tomorrow, from hosting the world's top 10 pharma and also the major vaccine companies and becoming the global command circle of innovation. This is our vision in 2047, the vision document which will be released by our Chief Minister, Mr. Revanth Reddy. And with this hope, I could able to convince most of the global players to come and part and be parcel of our ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a truly inspiring sharing your vision for a very strategic and all the moves. And it was really a privilege to listen to some very important inputs that would become essential elements as we progress from today to 2047 in realizing the vision. On that note, I think it was a privilege to be part of the panel, and I thank all the panelists, esteemed members, and Honorable Minister for their valuable time.
Thank you so much, Minister Garu. Thank you, Dr. Srinivas Garu, and all our panelists for such a thoughtful and a forward-looking discussion. Before we conclude, I request Honorable Minister Garu to felicitate our panelists. We'll start with Dr. Chava. Dr. Satyanarayana Chava, Chairman CEO, Laurus Labs. I request Minister Garu to felicitate our panelists here on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Satyanarayana Chava, Chairman CEO, Laurus Labs. Dr. Madan Mohan Reddy, Director, Aurobindo Pharma. Dr. Anand Kumar, Managing Director, IIL. Ms. Priyanka Chigurupati, Executive Director, Granules India Limited. Dr. Srinivas Oruganti, our moderator for this panel. Director, Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences. And now I request all of you to please step forward for a group photograph. And I request Sri Sanjay Kumar Garu and Sri Shakti Nagappa Garu, Director for Life Sciences and Pharma, Government of Telangana, to please join us on stage for a picture. Sri Sanjay Kumar Garu and Sri Shakti Nagappa Garu. Once again, thanking our panelists for joining us on stage for such a thoughtful discussion. On behalf of the organizers and everyone present here, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your time, knowledge and your commitment to shaping Telangana's life sciences vision for 2047. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to move on to our next session of our panel discussion, and that's investing in inclusion, prospects in affordable housing. In just few minutes, we are about to begin the next panel discussion that is set for the day. By 9 chairs chahiye. 9. I request, I can see many of you all standing back there. So I request all of you to please take your seats, make yourself comfortable and engage yourself in such a wonderful discussions that's happening here since morning. Moving on to the next panel discussion, which carries the theme, investing in inclusion prospects in affordable housing. Our next session explores an issue at the heart of equitable development, affordable housing. As Telangana grows, the question becomes, how do we build spaces that are not only accessible and climate resilient, but also reflect dignity and community? We begin with our distinguished speakers who bring in their deep experience across sustainability, environmental planning and social infrastructure.
Depth. So may I request Ms. Kranti to present the mementos. These are also a special mementos, the Cheriala artwork and the Pochampalli shawls. Please put your hands together for all the speakers for giving us the insight on the heritage, creativity and the sustainable planning coming together to shape the vibrant destinations. Thank you so much to Jupalli Krishnarao Garu and also Srimati Surekha Garu. Thank you so much, ma'am. Our next session will start immediately. The shawls are having the geographical indicators with them that shows that they've been directly from the
I'd request Mr. Gautam Garu, Special Secretary Housing, to please join us on the dais. And now let me welcome our distinguished panelists who are here to join us in the summit in the panel discussion this morning. We'll start with Mr. Vasudevan Suresh Garu, former CMD, HUDCO. Mr. Vasudevan has served in HUDCO in various capacities for 23 plus years and has become the CMD of the HUDCO, during which HUDCO registered all-round growth in housing, infrastructure development and finances with techno-financial assistance and many others, retail finances as well. Let's welcome Mr. Vasudevan Suresh Garu on stage. May we have on stage Mr. Abhijit Shankar Ray, Senior Urban Specialist, World Bank. Mr. Abhijit Shankar Ray is a Senior Urban Development Specialist based out of World Bank's office in New Delhi, bringing 20 years of experience of working in the urban sector in and Southeast Asia. Very warm welcome to you, sir. May we also have on stage Dr. P.S.N. Rao, Dean and Professor of SPA, Delhi. Professor Dr. P.S.N. Rao is a very well-known urban planning, housing and real estate expert of India with 38 years of experience. Welcome, sir. May we also have on stage Mr. G. Rami Reddy Garu, President-elect CREDAI National. Mr. Rami Reddy Garu is an entrepreneur, philanthropist and current CMD of ARK Group. As a leader in his organization, the industry and community, he stands tall with an illustrious career of 34 plus years. A very warm welcome to you, sir. May I now invite Mr. Nandakishore Garu, MD, Ramke Estates and Farms Limited. A very warm welcome to Mr. Nandakishore Garu, MD, Ramke Estates and Farms Limited. May we also invite Mr. Ajitesh Garu, founder of ASBL. Mr. Ajitesh Korupolu, founder of ASBL. And now may I invite the moderator of this panel discussion this morning, Mr. Preetham Mehra, Senior Executive Director and Head, Government Practice CBRE, India. Let me welcome Mr. Preetham Mehra, who is going to moderate this panel discussion this morning. Over to you, sir.
A very good afternoon to everybody in the hall. It is my pleasure and privilege to have such a distinguished panel along with the Honorable Minister for the Housing Department for the state of Telangana. So thank you so much for taking the time and being with us. It's also a pleasure to have Mr. Gautam, Special Secretary Housing, Government of Telangana on the dais with us. And of course, you already heard the profile of the panel speakers on stage. It has been a pleasure for us to have all of them here. A lot of them have flown down to Hyderabad to attend this specific event and to be part of this distinguished panel. Before we start the panel discussion, it is my pleasure to invite the Honorable Minister to share a few words and his vision for the Housing Department for the state of Telangana.
Good afternoon to all. It is a great privilege to address this important session on affordable housing policy for urban future, Telangana Model 2047. As part of the Telangana Raising 2047 Global Summit, today's discussion is the Art of Telangana Vision 2047 as prosperous, inclusive and human society where every family, regardless of income or background, has a safe, secure and dignified home. Historically, Telangana has always contributed for provision of housing towards all sections in the state, with our government constructing over 42 lakhs houses under old Indiramma scheme and now another 3.5 lakhs houses in progress under new Indiramma Illu scheme. Housing Board and Rajiv Sagraha have also contributed to over 1 lakh middle income houses. However, there is a huge gap between demand and supply. So, time has come to move beyond individual schemes and to formulate a comprehensive affordable housing policy that can guide our action till 2047. We are therefore working towards a Telangana Model 2047 where we aim to have a affordable housing policy with specific focus on needs in urban areas that will be balanced, financially visible, viable, socially inclusive, environmental responsible, technology driven, etc. The Telangana Affordable Housing Policy will be in line with the Telangana Raising 2047 vision with focuses on three major areas. Telangana core urban region focusing on some slums redevelopment, brownfield redevelopment, mixed housing, rental housing. In the peri-urban region, focusing on satellite, greenfield townships, integrated housing colonies with walk-to-work housing with strong consistency. In rest of the state region, focusing on development of small and medium townships, rental and worker housing, integrated with the industrial parks, logistic hubs and emerging economic corridors. Our esteemed panel will help us answer three very questions in this regard. What must the government of Telangana do differently? What can financial institutions to do? Increase affordable housing finances. What commitment can private sector make to for promoting affordable housing? Friends, we are committed to taking the outcomes of the discussions behind this room into policy notifications, operational guidelines, model projects and budgetary decisions. Telangana has the vision, the institutional base and the economic strength to become a national and global example of inclusive urbanization. With your ideas and partnership, I am confident that the Telangana model of affordable housing 2047 will not only serve our state, but also offer learning and inspiration for affordable housing development. On that note, I once again welcome all of you to this session. Thank you for your presence and look forward to a rich and efficient decisions. Jai Hind, Jai Telangana. Please.
Honorable Minister, sir, thank you so very much for your kind and encouraging words. We all are excited about the prospects for housing in the state, and with your leadership, we are very confident that Telangana will reach newer heights, particularly in the affordable housing segment. Thank you so much once again, sir. With this, we'll start the panel discussion, and as you are already aware, the panel consists of members from various facets of the housing sector. We are privileged to have the Dean of the School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, which is the premier most institute in India for housing and development. Dr. Rao, if I could direct the first question to you, sir. What are the opportunities and market gaps with regard to housing for all? This has been a topic which has been going on for many, many years. What do you think are the market opportunities and gaps and at an India level and more specifically at the Telangana level, sir?
Certainly. I think this is a very topical...
Sir, the mic can be a little closer to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Minister, with your kind permission. I think this is a very, very important and topical subject that has been chosen for discussion today. Housing, as we all know, has a lot of forward and backward linkages. So any investments that are made in the housing sector actually lead to greater economic opportunities in as many as about 230 or 240 odd industries, both forward linkages and backward linkages. So investments in housing would mean investments in a wide variety of other areas where there's a lot of employment opportunities that are going to be given to our people. Because without employment, there's no money, and without money, there's no housing. Let's remember that. You have to have money if you want to buy a house, whether you are a very rich person or not so very rich person. Some amount of money is always required, and if you don't have that, of course, there are financial institutions and there are others who can always chip in and give you some loans and so on and so forth. The opportunity for the market, for the industry, I presume is what you are asking. Yes, there is a huge housing shortage in this country. We are only about 40% urban. The last time we had a census was quite some time ago. But while we are waiting for the next census, we presume that we are about 40% urban. So we still have a large number of people living in the rural areas, and we still have a lot of people who want to migrate into the urban areas because of the employment opportunities, which means that whatever is the urban housing shortage, which is in several millions, is only going to increase in the times to come, which means that the opportunity is humongous. There are some estimates that as of the year 2022, the urban housing shortage, the total housing shortage in Telangana is about 2.8 million, out of which a major chunk actually happens to be in the urban areas and a very small percentage in the rural areas. This is obviously going to increase in the times to come when more people from the rural areas will come to the urban areas. Now, market opportunity, the government is already doing its bit. You have the Indiramma Housing Scheme, you have the Andhra Pradesh Housing Board, you have the AP Housing Corporation Limited. They are doing a fairly good job. You have the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, urban and Shahri and Gramin. Some funds are coming from there, some funds are coming from the HUDCO as well. But is that enough? That is clearly not enough, because we still have a large number of people living in the slum areas, which are in not just Hyderabad, but several other urban centers in the state of Telangana. So, what do we do with them? There is a huge corporate sector, real estate developers. We have members from the CREDAI also here with us. And real estate developers are providing a lot of housing in the urban areas. But this housing is Of course, for the upper and middle income segment, can they also down market their products? Can they also provide for the lower income population who cannot afford maybe a 3-bedroomed house but can perhaps afford a 1-bedroomed house, maybe something costing 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. Why cannot they provide for it? Unfortunately, in our country, there is also a luxury housing demand. So developers, obviously, they are in here for making money. So they are catering to the luxury housing demand, which perhaps is now more or less getting saturated. If you look at the inventory overhang, if you look at the vacant housing, there are figures where luxury housing is more or less now saturated. So if developers want to remain in the business, then I think you better start building small. Get into the one-room segment. I'll not use the word affordable. I'll not use the word low income because we don't want to go the nano way. So I need only a one-room house. I could be a rich man. I could be a poor man. Whatever. So you have products which are of a wide variety, wide range, wide ticket size, costing from 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh, going up to 2 crore and 3 crore. And whoever wants to buy whatever, they can come and buy. So there is a huge unmet demand and there is a market opportunity here. And real estate developers, many of them are coming and buying. There are, of course, you all know as developers, there are incentives that are being provided both by the central government and the state government. Income tax concessions are there, stamp duty concessions are there. Almost all state governments now have affordable housing policies. I think Telangana one is on the anvil. I think we can actually learn from the other states' examples and we can maybe make out a better one. So I think there's a great opportunity and the opportunity is actually in the numbers. So build more and probably the very big developers may not want to come in, but there will certainly be a segment of developers who would want to build the one-room units and provide them at a much reasonable price. So I am quite upbeat on this particular segment of the market.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Thank you so much. Before we move on to the next question, Mr. Gautam.
So, thank you, Professor Rao, for your comments. So, we have amidst us a very august audience, including our Honorable Chairman of the Legislative Council, Shri Gutta Sukendra Reddy Garu, and Honorable Advisor to Government, Shri Sudarshan Reddy Garu. Thank you for joining us in this discussion, sir. We are proud to have you amidst here. Taking forward from what Professor Rao said, about the actual demand, I'd like to just pitch a couple of data points on that. Because our state has taken a pretty comprehensive house-to-house survey of the housing demand. And with a good app called Indirama app, where we have gone house to house and captured the demand, including the present living conditions, including the, what kind of a housing structure they are in, and also capturing their socio-economic factors. So, we still have an unmet demand in urban areas, an unmet demand of 20.33 lakh in the LIG/EWS segment and 8.77 lakhs in the MIG segment. And yes, total of 28 lakhs, 8 lakhs in MIG and 20 lakhs in LIG/EWS. And in fact, these are not people who are completely dependent on government subsidy. Of course, EWS government will be, catering to, and this government is very, very committed as part of the Indirama ILU scheme. But, there is a lot of purchasing power, but the bracket of, the supply in that bracket is missing. That is what is reflecting in this demand. So I just want to place these facts before the panel. Sure. I request Preetham to take.
Sure, Mr. Gautam. Thank you so much for highlighting those statistics. So I'll quickly move on to the President-elect for CREDAI National, Mr. Ram Reddy. Sir, from the industry standpoint, you just heard the statistics shared by Mr. Gautam. He said there's a latent demand for about 28 lakh houses. So 8 lakh houses in the MIG segment and about 20 odd lakh houses in the LIG segment. How is the industry viewing this? How are you looking at this opportunity? How can you, as the leader in an industry body motivate the private sector to participate in this opportunity, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Pritham. Sir, thank you so much for giving that figures. 28 lakhs. It's a surprise to us. I mean, the demand, what you're talking about it. Yes, CREDAI plays a role. I mean, across the state, we have 15 chapters. So every chapter have a big connection with the CREDAI Telangana state. So that housing demand today, you talk about especially middle class. So affordable housing, there is a definition of 45 lakh rupees is the cap, and 60 square meter in metros, and non-metro it is 90 square meters. This 45 lakhs cap was decided 8 years ago. So today in 45 lakhs you are not getting those affordable houses. The definition of affordable housing has to be redefined. So this we have been giving the representation from CREDAI National multiple times. Hopefully, I mean this time also we met the Honorable Finance Minister, then Housing Minister. Possibly this budget we are expecting that limit of affordable housing going to be increased. That's very much required, sir. I request the Honorable Minister from your side also has to push for this, sir. Otherwise, so the very basic affordability where we are getting the land prices have gone up, the construction costs gone up, everything has gone up. Inflation, you can see 8 years inflation. If you take every year, I mean 5 to 7% inflation is there. If you take that also, it comes to 75-80 lakh rupees. So this we have been continuously talking to the governments, but hopefully this time I think after talking to them we got some positive note and we are definitely going to have this. So affordable housing definition, then concessions has to be given. Even in the cities like Hyderabad, if you want to build an affordable housing, so land prices are so high. So getting affordable is very challenging, sir. So I request the government has to look into this and provide some lands to the developers on a PPP model so that developers will come forward and they will build so many affordable houses, then they will be having their own business models. So this will definitely will encourage the developers and it will become easy for you to also cater to so many ways, sir. So definitely thank you.
Good idea, na? Definitely will work out it that way also.
Thank you so much. Yesterday, Preetham was mentioning about the old, all housing board houses were there. So,
example,
Kukatpalli housing, there's a prime area today.
Ground plus 3 present.
Yes, if you make it a PPP model, definitely it's going to give a big boost to the, this affordable housing, sir. Thank you so much.
Great. Mr. Ram Reddy, you stolen a couple of questions that I had, but it's good that we got a response from the Honorable Minister as well. I'll quickly move on to Abhijit from the World Bank. Abhijit, the Honorable Minister spoke about the financing opportunities and available of funding for the housing sector. How does World Bank come in and support state governments, the private sector, and ultimately the end users and buyers? How are you able to participate in this value chain? And if you can talk about some successful partnerships that you have managed both in India and outside India.
Thank you, Peter. First of all, I'd like to thank the government of Telangana for inviting us and for organizing this panel discussion. So from the World Bank Group's perspective, which includes both the World Bank, the IFC and MIGA, which is our private sector financing arm and guarantee arm respectively, we generally look at engaging with our government counterparts in 4 areas when it comes to housing. One is land, one is permissions, third is infrastructure, and fourth is financing. So you asked me very specifically about financing. Maybe I'll elaborate that a bit more than the others. But just to give you an example, because I think the President-elect of CREDAI, Mr. Ram Reddy, also mentioned this. So land is critical because it adds to the cost when the private sector needs to come in, right? And from land perspective, there are 2 things. So land costs near the core of the cities are high, like he was mentioning, and land costs away from the city in the suburbs. We heard about the ORR and the areas outside the ORR which would be developed are more affordable. So there it becomes important to ensure the connectivity to these locations. right? Brownfield redevelopment, yes, definitely looking at land parcels which are not giving the economic returns. You can look at reconstruction, you can look at PPPs like you mentioned. But for the affordable housing to be constructed for people who are going to work mostly in the peripheral areas, maybe linked to some industrial areas, etc. The second is permissions. So the second major cost comes usually in terms of both the planning permissions and the permissions for change in land use, right? And these are two areas which I think the government can come in. I know the government of Telangana has already done a lot in these two areas, but this is an area that we work with different state governments in India, specifically in Tamil Nadu, as well as other countries, in identifying the bottlenecks and finding the solutions. The third is in terms of the infrastructure. So the infrastructure is important. We have some housing projects in other countries where the component of infrastructure, so water supply, sewer, etc., connectivity through mass rapid transit systems, is more than the actual house construction component, right? Because once you're able to provide service land at certain locations, the private sector will automatically come in, pick it up, and deliver what is required in terms of the supply. And the fourth is, of course, in terms of financing. So in financing, we, World Bank as well as other multilateral institutions, will look at both the demand side as well as the supply side. So recently in our engagement in Tamil Nadu, we had a $440 million engagement. There the government was keen to move away from being a provider to becoming more of an enabler. They were already enablers, but more of an enabler. And one of the things that was done was setting up of this shelter fund, which allows long-term tenor financing at market rates, but quite comparable to, scheduled commercial banks, especially for developers who are interested to come into the affordable housing section, but probably don't have the credit profile to get attractive financing rates from financing institutions, commercial financing institutions. So this kind of a facility which was promoted by the government, was the equity of World Bank, ADB and the government of Tamil Nadu, has helped both rental housing as well as ownership housing. And since I mentioned rental housing, the Honorable Minister mentioned the 28 lakh, or rather Mr. Gautam, you mentioned the 28 lakh demand. So in terms of meeting the gap, I think it's important to look at rental housing as well as one of the options. The focus should not exclusively be on ownership housing. So let me just stop.
Yeah, so Abhijit, I had a specific question on rental housing. Maybe we'll come back to that topic in a few minutes. We also have another stalwart from the financing industry, the ex-CMD of HUDCO, sir. But, sir, allow me a couple of minutes, I'll come back to you. The next question I want to direct to both the developers from Hyderabad, Mr. Nandakishore and Ajitesh. How are you both seeing Telangana and Hyderabad's residential housing market supply and demand situation, and what factors will play a critical role for the private sector to operate in all budget categories? We are seeing more and more developers playing in the upper middle income category, etc. How do we make sure that everyone participates in all budget categories?
First of all, thank you for having us here. At the outset, I would like to say the land prices being out of board in Hyderabad are being overplayed in my view. Actually, if you see, barring a couple of pockets, the land prices are not as exorbitant as they are made out to be. If you look at Kokapet, if it is 150 crores there, every kilometer you move away from there, the price drops by almost 6 to 7 crores per acre. And by the time you reach Patancheru, it would be around 20-25 crores per acre. And if you look at the FSI cost, I think it would still be within a decent range of, say, 1,000 rupees to 1,500 rupees a square feet, which is, I think, pretty much a fair expectation, even if you compare with cities like Bangalore and other cities. But what is most important here is we have to understand what is affordability. Affordability, while the government has defined as a certain budget of 45 lakhs and all that, for me affordability is to be looked at from an individual household perspective. If a household is able to finance their EMI with 40% of its household income, then it is affordable to them. So that way you have to categorize the people into various brackets like EWS, LIG, MIG, HIG and all that. Now in the EWS category, I think come whatever, I think there have to be different models developed for that. And one of the biggest points what I would like to make here is that Hyderabad has got almost close to 2 million people in the slum areas, if Google is to be believed. Now 2 million people in the slum areas would roughly translate to around 4 to 5 lakh households. Now how do you do that? I think this is where we need to borrow the model of Mumbai. The model there has matured a lot, and I'm sure in most of this slum redevelopment, there will be many developers who would be more than happy to participate in this slum redevelopment, and I think we can adopt the Mumbai model here to do for that. And one of the prerequisites, of course, for this would be that government will have to ensure that there are other government lands which are made available so that developers can build transit camps. Where people can be temporarily located and then brought back once these developments are complete. And also there is another aspect that we also have to consider is that bulk of these home buyers, if we were to get into greenfield projects, if developers are to get into greenfield projects, bulk of these home buyers have a problem of credit availability. Housing finance companies will not be able to finance them. And I think that is where the government intervention becomes very important. They have to perhaps give some kind of a credit guarantee to cover the lender's risk. And I was talking to a developer in Mumbai almost 15 years ago who had done in Karjat, he had developed this affordable housing. One of the biggest problems he faced was that the people who bought homes were not able to pay the subsequent installments, and that puts a huge risk to the project as a whole. I think that is where the government can again intervene. Apart from that, what the government can also do is give the developers incentives. I would say more than the developers, I would say the home buyers incentives by way of stamp duty exemption, which is again a substantial cost. We don't have a separate. And of course, approvals, as everybody says, there has to be a separate body which will give approvals, whether it is an SRA development or whether it is a development of affordable housing. There has to be a separate body who has to do that, and it has to be a genuine single window system. I mean, it should be something which operates truly as a single window system. One of a easier solution would be where a government has huge land tracts outside on the periphery of the city, right? So what I suggest, sir, is that if we can identify large land parcels across the 4 corners of the city, the government can do the designing, concept development and master planning of those lands. All the government has to do, once they have done that, create the trunk infrastructure also, so that the developers don't have to run for, taking approvals or permissions. All they have to do is that we can tell the developers, okay, you develop here this much of area, you get these concessions or benefits elsewhere in the city. So I think that is something like what we are seeing in Mumbai. That thing can also be adopted. So the developers, one of the reasons the developers are not coming forward is mainly because they cannot do the running around, they cannot focus their energies on developing low margin, low profit areas. And it will be unfair and impractical for us to expect that private capital will make sacrifices. So I think the government has to do those master planning and developments across all locations in the city, and the developers will be more than happy to come and participate.
Similar to this development what you said now, in which state it is going now?
Sir, I understand it is happening in Mumbai. They are doing in...
Any that type of document?
Yeah, in Ahmedabad also they have done something similar,
Secretary.
Yeah, I will definitely. Actually, I've been interacting with Mr. Gautam a lot, and we have a lot of conversations. And I can see there is a genuine interest to do something really good, and we'll be more than happy, sir.
Really good. Definitely, this government is also thinking that way.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandakishore ji. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Ajitesh, can you quickly come in, and can I restrict your time to about 2 odd minutes, please?
Sure. See, first and foremost, to understand this entire landscape, right? Am I audible now? Yeah. See, from the government side, government has land reserves in the city, core city area, right? Some of them are greenfield, some of them are brownfield. Greenfield land parcels, government has to auction at, and we need to allow the market to realize its potential. By not doing that, essentially we are eating into the balance sheet of the government. So I think the main innovation can come around brownfield land ownership, or what we call slums. If something can happen around easily establishing ownership in the slums. Because see, as it is, if you look at the slums, we have maximum in FSI consumption of maybe 1.5. Whereas in the west of Hyderabad, we go up to 10 FSI. So the FSI is a very beautiful concept, which is one of the biggest reason why still things are affordable. Let me share one small data point. In the prime region of Hyderabad, at a macro scale, an average house costs per SFT around 8.5, 10,000 rupees, like let's say Gachibowli. In Bangalore, an equivalent sort of area, house costs 20,000 rupees. In Gurgaon, it's 27,000. So Hyderabad is currently the most affordable city in the country. That's to start with. Why we are there? Fundamentally because of the high FSI regime. Now, second thing, when many people say a lot of things with FSI, first of all, there is no unlimited FSI in Hyderabad. If your property is abutting a 40-feet road, you can only build 7 floors. If your property is abutting 4-lane road or 80-feet road, you can only build 15 floors. Only if your property is abutting a 6-lane road or an 8-lane road, you can build like multiple floors. And a big road can accommodate all of this traffic. And second thing, see, this has become a market force. So we need to make policies which become market force. So when it comes to affordable housing, we have to work on how, see, essentially the slum lands, whatever lands have gone for the slum, today are, in a way, are catering to the affordable demand in an unorganized manner. We are trying to make it organized. So the FSI advantage exists. We need to just work around the ownership things. There is no additional capital commitment for the government or for the private sector. Next, I do agree with one of the esteemed panelists that, yeah, I think housing for all, we need to focus more on the rental ownership, rental side, not on the ownership. Because the problem with ownership is it's going to cost a lot of money. Let's say somebody is earning 9 lakh rupees per year, right? And I'm taking a home loan of 25 to 27 lakhs. I'm going to spend half of my money just paying my EMI. I can't live with that. See, households which are earning less than probably 10 to 12 lakhs per annum, a good amount of expenditure will go towards healthcare and education. They should not be wasting money on the side. So a good rental housing scheme, if you bring in, where the cap rates fall anywhere around 7 to 8%, then you will have lot of demand. And also there are major global financial institutions like IFC Washington and ADB and these things who are giving fund exclusively for it. So capital is available. I think we just need to solve a little bit of the supply chain. Government side innovation lies around land ownership. As private sector, our role involves in on the supply chain side. So we need to invest in R&D to bring down the cost of construction. I think the future is going to head in the direction of precast. So we need economies of scale. I think we will be getting there.
Absolutely, Ajitesh. Thank you so much. We will come back to precast and other construction technologies as well, if time permits. But it's the right time to introduce Mr. Suresh, the former CMD of HUDCO. Sir, you heard all the panelists. Everybody is talking about finance and credit availability and rental housing, etc. With your vast experience, sir, how has HUDCO been an enabler for this entire sector, and what is going on? What are your suggestions and recommendations to improve the supply in the affordable housing category?
Thank you very much. Very nice to get the views, and more importantly, I'm happy to hear from the Honorable Minister a very clearly sequential type of housing approach in the core of the city, in the outer area, peripheral area, and small and medium town. Because the whole state housing is a very major one. And that's it's the right approach, because that really brings the right level of inputs, more so because the cost of land in those particular case, the third category will be much lower, which is also a point brought out by many people here. But what is interesting is that as far as HUDCO as a finance, if I'm not mistaken, by January, another major project is also going to come. Of the order of around 14,000 crores of money is coming into the housing segment in Telangana. I'm only talking of Telangana one. And that particular thing covers not only the housing component of the weaker section, but also the low income one. I got to really
the Honorable Minister as well as Gautamji is there. They've done a fantastic job of actual delivery of houses of the order of around nearly 3 lakhs houses to be taken up and implemented. It's not an easy thing to deliver, and they have been able to do that. And that's equally an important one because funding institution would be happy to fund, provided you're able to good delivery coming, and also do it on time, cost and quality. And if you're able to do that, financial institutions will be very happy to extend funding in the sector. And Telangana is doing extremely well, not only through Telangana Housing Development Corporation, Telangana Housing Board, and equally important is a contribution on housing coming from my brother sitting on the left. The private sector is contributing well. Around 300 big developers are there in Hyderabad and nearby, and around 500 are there in Telangana from other side. So contribution from the private sector is an equally important component of housing that will be coming. So contribution by the public sector, primarily on the low-income housing and weaker section housing. They have a weaker section housing program, a big thrust being given, and I want to really give a salute for that and for the great initiative, not only in policy framework, but also in actual implementation through good cooperation using the... I was very happy, the gentleman who came with me to escort me, he's dealing with the urban housing, even up to the 9-story development in the heart of the city through the GHMC. They are doing 560 square feet houses of the order of about 8 lakhs. So it's pretty good. 8 lakhs to be done with that particular cost. Land cost, leave it out, but that's a different issue. But it's being done very well. And therefore, different type of component where the land is very intense, you go a little higher rise, maybe around 6 or 7 stories, and maybe where land is not so costly, you can go to 2 or 3 story or 4 story development. The differential approach is also very good, and therefore the funding is coming in a big way. There is no problem in that sector. And they're also opening in the private sector. We stopped it in between for some time. Now, opening the real estate sector to the private sector agency is also a new initiative that Sanjay Kulshrestha has done, the new CMD has done. So that will be also good news for funding. Of course, in addition to HUDCO as an agency, large number of housing financing institutions are there for the lending on the retail lending. Because when developers put the money, the whole housing cost is done through the housing home loans with reasonably good rates of interest, and of the order of even 8%, 8.5% rate of interest, with the EMI coming still for every lakh of loan, less than around 1,000 rupees for every 1 lakh of loan is pretty good. And you're having, and with the latest announcement which is given by the government on RBI's new interest rate policy, you can expect all the housing financing institutions to bring down the housing loan also to slightly some extent also. I do not think that should be a problem if the delivery is an important one. That's where they score well. The ministry is there, the secretary is there, MD is there. If you're able to deliver well, implement it on time, good technologies to be brought in, that's where financial institutions will be very happy to put any amount of money. I do not think that's a problem. But the big number, that number which is about 28 lakhs that he said, covering the high income housing plus also the low income and weaker section there. One suggestion which I would like to add with all that the Honorable Minister is here, if you are able to do something on land assembly and also infrastructure being laid, the Honorable Minister asked which states are doing that, then ask the private sector to come and join on a public-private partnership basis. Not only the pure public sector doing, pure real estate sector doing, do some projects on public-private partnership. Haryana has done that in a big way. Maharashtra has done in Sitco and the new townships in Nashik and Nagpur. West Bengal has done some projects, including equity participation on company also, just by the way. So that model is also there. So public-private participation are working where the government is good for land and infrastructure, private sector is good for design and implementation. So we can do to that particular company also in a big way. So I know there will be many questions coming, but that's an immediate answer I can give. And as far as the government of Telangana's massive program of housing is concerned, the vision that you have put, sir, we are there to fully support that particular program. Not only for that, I understand the new township that's going to come in this very location there, Bharat. The HUDCO is already coming in a big way to fund that, including all the other infrastructure for water supply and other related, because infrastructure is a larger component, which is also an important component that will come on that. Possibly, if you are able to make the land and development cost, say around 30% of the total cost. Why is it going from 4,000 rupees a square feet to 10,000 rupees in Hyderabad? It is the cost of the land cost that's coming. Opportunity cost of land is where that's coming. We should bring that down to around 35%. Then the building construction cost can be around 60%. That can only happen if new landmarks, a good suggestion which you gave over there, I agree. If we, with infrastructure we do that, I'm sure they will deliver. Because construction cost in any case is not more than about 2,500, about 3,000 rupees. Even at the best possible specification, it will be around 2,500 rupees. It is the opportunity cost of land that is really making the particular thing get into that 10,000 level and 12,000. A good point that was suggested over. It's still, he says, Hyderabad and environments are still much better than other metro cities that you have over there. I'll stop at that point of time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. We love your energy and we love your articulation.
Thank you.
You know, we wish, a louder round of applause will be great. Thank you so much. Dr. Rao, if I can come back to you, and Ajitesh, you brushed upon the topic of precast housing. So Dr. Rao, from an urban planning and urban design principle, have you seen instances where urban planning tools have been used to augment supply in the housing sector? Are there any tricks in the trade that can be employed by the governments, in Telangana specifically, to augment supply? And Ajitesh, if you can follow it up with construction technologies, apart from precast, what else can fasten construction and bring in supply quicker into the market? Even Mr. Ram Reddy and Nandkishore can add, but Dr. Rao, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think one of the fundamental requirements is land assembly, as very rightly pointed out here. Very recently I was in Bangalore and I was talking to the people in the Karnataka Housing Board. There, what they've done is that instead of going in for direct land acquisition, they brought all the landowners together and they've come into an agreement with the landowners, and there's a public-private partnership model where there's an agreement and there's a sharing, and the private sector is coming, and Karnataka Housing Board, they're doing a lot of housing, and the people are very happy there because the landowners are also getting some amount of benefit out of this. So rather than going in for, like in some states...
Same concept here is also planning now. In some ORR and in between RRR.
Okay.
We are planning same thing.
A similar kind of a public-private partnership.
Approaches and everything, also roads, radial roads, everything also already planning, ongoing works is going.
Okay. That's very nice. The other thing is, the mention was made about FSI. So the floor area ratio is very, very important. You need to get the maximum out of the limited land that's available. So, I know, just now that has been said. So it depends upon the road widths. So you can also do a kind of a cross subsidy, wherein if a developer does affordable housing, then he can get an incentive FSI like they are doing in the case of Mumbai, where lands which are occupied by the slums, the developer can come in, and then there's a slum rehabilitation authority, SRA is happening there. So there are those ways by which you can enhance the efficiency of utilization of the limited land that is available, so that you can accommodate more in the limited land that is available. So this FSI incentive is, I think, very, very important. And of course, there are other financial incentives. I don't have to talk about that. It is already
Sure. Thank you, sir. Ajitesh.
On the cost of construction, I think you can.
I think prefab is for the foreseeable future. Prefab would be a good investment area. Again, there's robotic construction and 3D printing, but it's in very early stage technology, and frankly, not a very good solution for us here, because we have to go vertical. Especially in the West, land availability is high, so you can go horizontal. So yeah, we need to invest in prefab tech and any tech which will help us in going vertical construction. And probably see, even in prefab also, the more important things are the viability question is coming, especially from the point of view of transportation of these materials. If something can be done around the transportation costs, or maybe some sort of yard or a manufacturing plant sort of, because these are all concealed plants, so they are not environmentally pollution contributing. If you can make some of those plants on different directions of the city, then the transportation cost comes down. So that is what I would recommend. And even the schools like, we have construction worker training schools can start working on these problems, because labor training also becomes sort of important in this.
Yeah, so I'll bring in Mr. Ram Reddy there, sir. He spoke about worker training and schools. So what is the industry body doing about faster construction, cheaper construction, at the same time taking care of the skill development in this sector?
Yeah, especially about the skill development, CREDAI National has a tie-up with NSDC, CSDCI. So a lot of programs have been conducted across the country. Every city chapter, I mean, people are coming for giving their training. Because these days, you know, how, I mean, problematic about the skilling. So no mason want his son to become a mason. No carpenter want to become his son as a carpenter. So now government also is supporting them in many ways. So there is no problem for them to their livelihood. So that's how nobody is willing to come for the work. So now as a developer, we have to give them some pride to work. So already we are giving a lot of facilities. Earlier, the living condition was completely different. Today, the living condition have been improved a lot. So, I mean, and their dressing style, all those things, I mean, it's been changed. Now people are just feeling that, yes, I mean, instead of calling as a laborer, we are calling them as a worker. So that way, some better things are happening. So apart from that, cost of construction to reduce, especially majorly bulk production of the precast. So it has become precast is not a great solution today, because so there is no users for that. There are some challenges in going for the construction. So those challenges has to be addressed further. And when it comes in a huge volumes, definitely it's going to become cost effective. I just give an example. When vitrified tile came in, I think 20 years ago, when I used it was 110 rupees per square feet. First I purchased. But today you know how it is when even you are getting it at 40 rupees also. Because the volumes, the technologies, the speed of production, all these things are happening. So in the construction also we need that. Speed is very important. And even you have to encourage those industries to establish. So again, establishing an industry, we are facing some challenges. So those challenges has to be addressed. More people has to come for the industry, and more use, many has to adopt the new technologies. Already you have seen every 7 days you are going to build one floor of slab. Those technologies have been there. We have seen we are evolving, from a concrete mixer to, from gamela to gamela, then hoist, then cranes, and all those things are coming. So future is definitely for the technology, and lot of research has to take place in the technology also. So to reduce the cost, technology is the only biggest solution. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Kishorji, your thoughts, and then we'll move on to Mr. Suresh. He had some inputs on technology as well. Please, sir.
See, I think from a technology perspective, what gets manufactured in the factory on a repetitive basis will obviously be the cheapest compared to what gets done in situ. So if you look at China, I think bulk of their homes are manufactured in the factory and they're just assembled at the site. So it's an assembly line process that they follow. I think that is something which we need to replicate, and that is a much larger issue. But what is most important, I think, apart from the construction cost and technology, I think the cost of building a home, one, time is a very significant factor. And as I mentioned, if the government can facilitate a scheme or a policy wherein the time is cut down, I think that is going to add a significant benefit to the, bring down the cost. The second is the financing of the construction, the developer finance for affordable housing. I think here again, cheaper finance, I think much like what the central government has done with the Swami Fund, which is doing an amazing job in the stressed asset portfolio. I think the same thing, if something that similar can happen for affordable housing, I think that is another big advantage. And the third advantage is the GST on construction. Now, whether you are building an affordable housing or you are building a regular housing, the GST from a construction side is the same. while the buyer is getting only GST at 1%, but from the developer, the GST on the construction is still the same. If that can be brought down substantially, then I think this will bring down the overall cost of construction. Add to that, if the state government, I'm sure if they can do something and bring down the approvals cost, which is again today similar, and also certain other parameters like, the parking requirements, irrespective of the kind of homes you are building, the parking requirement still remains the same. I think these are some areas where we can work around to bring down the overall cost of construction by reducing the time, by certain interventions from the government and certain use of technology, and also by bringing down the approvals costs and timelines and all this. I think this is everything has to fall in together. And of course, as I said, finally, eliminate or bring down the land cost component as much as possible. That's the...
Thanks, Kishorji. Suresh sir, over to you. You had some thoughts on technology.
Yeah, I think it's an important one. At the end of the day, it's going to be construction, and the way in which things are going on, the cost of construction is component of building materials as well as the labor component there. On an average, if it is going to be in the urban component, about 70-30 between the building material cost and the labor component there. And this is also the second largest employment generation, housing in over there. You're about 5 crore construction workers. And that's a very major area next to agriculture. So if you're able to give a big thrust for the construction workers who are dealing mason, carpenter, bartender, plumber, electrician, around 65 trades are there. Tile layer, glass fixer, painter, etc., etc. And if you're able to do a big job, at one point of time, somewhere in the late 90s, the good moment was the National Network of Building Centers, which is or Nirmiti Kendra or Nirman Kendra. We said that primarily a technology transfer center, a skill upgradation center, a manufacturing center for products or precast there, and also housing guidance center, and also construction workforce. A 5-in-1 job. And fortunately, Telangana has done good in the Nirmiti Kendras also in a big way, but I do not know at this point of time it's still going on well or not, but it will be good to retain, especially your program outside in the rural component of housing and small and medium towns, tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We should strengthen that particular component, and that will give better, in which case wastage will be lower, quality of housing will be better, and we should strengthen in that. And I also agree with him, precast is a very important component. He suggested that at the beginning over there, we left it. There are a lot of good initiatives coming in this country, with including 3D housing, the whole thing. But you require good volumes coming there, committed volumes are required in that particular area. And previously we thought that we have to do in a factory and bring it all the way to the site there, travel cost and all that. But now there are a lot of technology, we can do it. Also the manufacturing component at the very site itself. Many companies have done. But I agree, the economies will come where the world. If we are able to do, even today I find large number of good construction with prefab which are being done over there of the order of around 1,800 to 2,000 rupees a square feet as against casting. See, time is the most important one. If in situ construction, if it takes about 2.5 to 3 years for a project of a 20-30 storied building, you can do the same thing in about 1 year time period. And that's an important component. Interest during construction is a very major component there, if you're able to do that. But we should have an enabling environment to support that. But skill upgradation and training through the National Academy of Construction here, NICMARSO unit here, the Credais training institutes, all that together along with the building center movement or Nirmiti Kendra movement can give a big thrust. Take my word, as the Honorable Minister is here, sir, this is one area which can have a major impact for the large construction workforce which are there in Telangana, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Abhijit, if I can quickly bring you in back to the rental housing topic. A few speakers spoke about rental housing, and I think there is a consensus amongst the panel that everything cannot be for purchase supply. What has been World Bank's experience? How has World Bank enabled rental housing? Because the economics in India is quite different and very difficult, right, for rental housing to work. So your learnings and suggestions there, please.
Thank you, Preetham. Before I come to rental housing, I'm just going to take 2 minutes and probably reflect on some of the discussions. So blended financing was one of the thoughts that came up, and this is something that many countries have done successfully. We have done this in Brazil, we are doing this in Kenya, looking at providing catalytic risk financing support or looking at providing credit support to developers. So both sides can be looked at. I think the main point I want to say is that when a multilateral agency is getting involved, it need not be in terms of direct financing. It can also be in terms of a guarantee, right? Which means we are guaranteeing that if there is a problem that comes up to a certain, after a certain threshold, then the guarantee comes into play. So there is a very minimal cost of guarantee. So the actual load of that guarantee on the cost is very, very low compared to, say, a pure borrowing. And just wanted to make that point because the government is doing its policy thinking. The second is transit camps is very important. But with transit camps, we've seen some states are now exploring with rental vouchers, right? So for a 2-year period or 1.5 to 2-year period, a rental voucher of X amount is being given so that they can rent houses within, let's say, 2 to 3 kilometers of where they're located while the reconstruction goes on, right? And this rental vouchers I'm flagging because as a long-term policy for the government to look at, a rental voucher policy has been experimented in places like Chile, in Indonesia, where effectively every migrant worker who is coming in, recognized migrant worker coming in, is given a rental voucher for 3 to 4 years. And that, over that period, then they graduate to, say, ownership housing, right? So that's another thing the government could consider. Linked to this is also the issue of the lowest brackets, the first, second, third, fourth deciles, the economically weaker sections, and whether they have the affordability to buy, a housing. And this is where the role of the affordable housing finance companies come in, right? Now, with the affordable housing finance companies, the rate of interest is higher than, let's say, going to a formal. But we have seen, based on experience in Tamil Nadu, we have seen that people are able to afford and repay. And the government comes in through two means. So one is they come in through a tripartite agreement between the AHFC, the government as well as the owner. And the second is there is a certain risk guarantee which is introduced by the government, which says that if you're not able to pay 2 quarters EMI, let's say, we cover it. After that, you'll have to vacate the house. So that kind of a system can also be looked at. Now back to rental housing, the question that you asked.
Thank you.
So, sorry. So on rental housing, what we are experimenting, so you're right, the returns for the private sector to come in is not there, right, to come in from a pure rental housing perspective. So we are looking at a possible blend of grants, so grants which would come from various government schemes that were mentioned, or grants that could come from other concessional sources for the construction cost, right, which actually reduces the cost at which the private operator operates the rental facility. So in Tamil Nadu, where this has been tried, the rentals without any concessional grants would be something around 12 to 13,000, has come down to 3.5 to 4,000. That is the impact that PMAY, ARHC window, or they have the Working Women's Hostel Scheme, which is running quite well now, can play, right? So that is one thing I think every state now needs to look at. The second is industrial worker housing. So if we have, the previous session was chaired by the Industries Department as well, and we were talking of the industrial ecosystem, growing. That ecosystem requires housing, and rental housing is probably the best way to do it. So a tie-up between such industrial sites, industrial zones, or even corridors was being mentioned. New corridors are being set up. Identifying affordable housing within those corridors, right, for rental housing, has the possibility, because then the industrial estate comes in and subsidizes a part of the rent. So here the capital is not getting subsidized, the rent gets subsidized. So there are various models which can be looked at, which has been tried globally.
Thank you, Abhijit. We'll quickly move on to the private sector on the dais, starting with Mr. Ram Reddy. Sir, we spoke about PPP fleetingly, so how does the private sector and how does the industry body like yours, what kind of partnerships with government. You know, we talk about PPP, which is private-public partnership. What models would the private sector be excited about? What models are, foremost in terms of acceptability?
So mainly the government has to provide the land, then proper approvals, proper infrastructure. These three things are from the government side. Then developers will come forward and definitely make whichever the project is there, they're definitely going to be successful. Apart from this, especially for affordable housing, the finance cost has to be definitely, as Mr. Nandkishore mentioned, it has to be reduced. Now, any private developer getting a project funding, it ranges from, and then the best developer is getting at 10%, it goes up to even 15% from private lending, non-scheduled banks. So that cost of funding is huge, and even approval also is taking huge time. Every project, Minister Gar also is in the real estate, he knows how the approval process is there. That has to be simplified, because a project, when the land is purchased or took on a development by paying the huge advances, if it takes a year to launch the project, huge burden on the, finance cost will be there.
The timelines is very important
Yeah.
for approvals. Definitely government will take as early as possible the positive decisions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now bill now has come, but still, because it's not a criticism, but improvement I'm talking about it. Lot of improvements has to be taken place. Definitely it's going to big help, because Telangana is a model for many, because especially the GO number 86, where Shekhar Reddy has put his best efforts, that limit, sky is the limit to construct, that is given a big boost to Hyderabad real estate. Why various developers across the country coming to Hyderabad means because of such decisions. So even we talk across the country, our policies are great. So, whatever build now and TS, IPAS, all policies are great, but there is a big scope for improvement, because every permission we have to go to many departments. Every department takes, every section, it takes a time. You know how much time it takes on that. So on this dais, I request the Honorable Minister, please look into this. Definitely this is going to make a big game changer for us. The vision what 2047 is a great vision. 3 trillion economy is going to be a reality. Definitely it's going to be reality. The way in which in the shortest time, the way in which has been event been conducted, really the MOUs have been signed, really, a lot of credit goes to the Honorable Chief Minister and the ministers like you. Really, I am very, very happy to be associated. Whatever even the policies also across the country, whichever the best housing policies are there, from CREDAI, I can definitely be some use for you. I can get the information across the country. And the CBR is there to, create some vision document about the affordable housing. We are definitely will be the shareholders in that. Definitely, whatever the best can be from CREDAI, will contribute that.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. I can quickly go to Ajitesh, and then I'll come to the Ramki group. So Ajitesh, your views on PPP models and partnerships with government. What are the most top of mind or most comfortable associations that private sector will accept?
See, I think first and foremost, I think the role of the stakeholder called the government is to simplify the land side of things. Right, like one very, very good thing now we are seeing is auctions. Auctions is a good way. It is actually also a PPP where the government is sourcing the land, cleaning it up, and then auctioning it. So I, as a developer, need not worry about so many of the legal hassles. So that's one very good to start with. Right, when it comes to particularly to the affordable housing, I think the slum one, which I mentioned, would be a good thing. The role of the private sector is to continuously work on cost reduction. And cost reduction is going to come up as a function of economies of scale. As we have more bigger and bigger firms, we have bigger R&D. So naturally, we'll have to go invest, because as Honorable Secretary has been mentioning, we have 3 million shortage hours. So the market demand exists. Now the question is, how do we make a profit? That's the only question remaining. So I think, see, if somehow 12% margin can be made, that's it. It's ripe for disruption. And also, I would like my humble suggestion would be for policymakers is to focus probably less on subsidies, because if you look pan-India under PM Awas Yojana and various state government programs, broadly speaking, 10% of 10% of the overall cost subsidy has already been given, and that's not really helping. I think we need to work more towards unlocking the market forces rather than the subsidies, because subsidy is also a burden on the exchequer. The middle class person who's paying the tax, it's a big burden on them. So maybe less subsidies and more market force orientation. Unlocking market force will really help the entire, all of us moving forward. And another one point which I would like to just mention before I conclude is that, see, housing is the most important sector. Let me put some statistics. Pan-India, we have 230 million people working in the agri-economy, where average per capita earning is 10,000 rupees. Right? Then we have 70 million people working in the manufacturing sector, where average earning is 15 to 17,000 rupees. Then we have another 70 million people working pan-India in the housing and construction segment, where the average earning is 25,000 to 27,000 rupees. So for every one person who's working in the construction sector, 2.7 equivalent people have to work in the agri sector. Almost all 1.8 people have to work in the manufacturing sector. So investing in housing under the visionary program of the Honorable Chief Minister to make our economy $1 trillion by 2034, investing in housing related policies will greatly push forward the economy and create opportunity for the bottom end of the society, thereby making them richer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajitesh.
I think PPP in the housing or the real estate sector is always going to be a tricky thing, because people look at land, and mostly when we look at land, we look at it retrospectively. Are ye land 10 saal pehle you had given it for 1 crore or 2 crores. Okay, so that's always going to be a dicey thing, lot of governance, lot of scrutiny, lot of challenges. So I would suggest, even in a PPP model, eliminate the land part, like what Ajitesh was mentioning. Let the government bring the land, not give to the developer. Let the government do the facilitation part of it. I think let rest be left to the private developers. Let economics and profit drive the development. I think provide whatever enabling environment that you can. Also very important here is to understand is, on an average in a city, 70% of the land is occupied by residences, by residential development. And still we have, say in a city like Hyderabad, like 3 million people not living in quality housing. I think that is something which is not reflecting very greatly on the overall scheme of things. So somewhere there is something which is lacking. And if this really has to be addressed, it cannot be addressed just by large developers or just by the government. It has to be all sizes of developers who have to be part of it. And one way of doing that is we have to ensure the city spreads horizontally. We are talking of Hyderabad having unlimited land, but if you see, we are not growing beyond a certain boundary. One of the reasons for that is lack of transport infrastructure. We have fantastic roads all around, but we don't have transport infrastructure. We don't have social infrastructure. I think that is where I would request the Honorable Minister and the government to...
In transport, now we are planning a metro line more than 300 kilometers, second and third phase also.
Absolutely.
Definitely it will be useful for in the city.
Yeah, I think once that happens, once the transport infrastructure and automatically the social infrastructure will start developing, then I think you will find a lot more developers coming into these peripheral zones to develop the affordable housing. I think that is one area where the government can play a facilitating role than directly be a part of the PPP model.
Thank you so much, Anandakishore ji. So,
Preetham, just one point, one point I would like to add. I think the objective of the entire PPP model should be government should not lose money, private sector should make money, and people should find solutions. That could be the broader vision statement.
Nicely put, Ajitesh, nicely put. So we are almost nearing the end of the session. I will pass on the mic to Mr. Suresh, and then the Honorable Secretary will also conclude the session. But we want to throw the floor open for some Q&A. Yeah. So if there are a few questions, we will come to you, sir. The mics will come to you, but after Mr. Suresh's commentary.
Yeah. I wanted to add one dimension to the whole, because the whole thing is housing. And I have here the President Shekhar Reddy Garu, who is sitting over there in the front. He is also there. He is also the National Vice Chairman for the Indian Green Building Council. I bring to your notice the important comment. It is not just not four walls and a roof. How to make the home also green in a large way. Integrated water management, integrated energy management, integrated waste management, saving of water saving, energy saving, and good interiors coming, good green to be developed over there. And the Indian Green Building Council, the headquarters is only in Hyderabad, and they're done, and IGBC has done phenomenally well. And you'll be very happy to know, out of nearly 15 billion square feet of green development, which is about 1,500 crore square feet, mind you, 1,500 crore square feet, the housing component itself is of the order of around 3 billion square feet, and that's about 3,000 crores of housing. That's a very big number. And we have got ratings available for middle income, high income, and affordable housing is a very major component. We have a rating for affordable housing also. My suggestion is that in addition to the other components which we are discussing, also add on the dimensions of environment friendly, ecologically appropriate, energy saving, and other features to be introduced in that. So the quality of the housing, in addition to just being walls and roof, will also bring in a house to a home component of good quality being brought in. And I'm sure Shekhar Reddy will take over as the national chairman, like he will become the national president of CREDAI in Hyderabad, both happening. Telangana should be able to do a very good thing for all the housing that you do by Vision 2047, also to bring the dimension of green home as an important one. I thought I'll bring that, because that discussion did not come so far. You talked of land, infra, you talked of money, but not on the green component was not mentioned. And it's a very major area IGBC is contributing. It's available in Hyderabad, and please do that also in a dimension. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Mr. Gautam, if you have any... okay, so we'll throw the floor open for questions. So if we can have a couple of mics passed around, please. Yes, please.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Professor Santosh Mehrotra. I'm on the advisory council of the Chief Minister on Telangana Rising Summit in 2047. I've heard a lot about more and more development for Hyderabad. What about the smaller towns? Why is it that we are neglecting the smaller towns, which is where most of the people of your state live and most of India lives? There are several win-wins that will happen if your focus as policy makers was on the smaller towns. What are the win-wins? We talked about job creation. You want job creation near to the locations where people are actually living. Point one. Point two, you can actually use prefab in small towns. You can't use prefab to go high. In big cities, you cannot be using prefab, and therefore you have to go high. If you don't go high, the problem is that you will have to keep developing infrastructure and metros, etc., and your city spreads like this. This is the opposite of successful cities of the world. Paris, London, Japan's Tokyo, they are concentrated cities, and they rise like that. So the point is, we have too much concentration of people coming into big cities. We want people to be located in small towns, and that's where the clusters are. The MSMEs are located there. If you build clusters in small towns, you will actually be able to generate jobs, not just for construction, but for the other parts of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
In my opening remarks, already I told you, Andy, we in Hyderabad, in between ORR, RRR, out of RRR, our plan is state government planning is like that. Definitely, we are 100% do that thing.
Yes, sir. My name is Narsaya. I am the Managing Director of Shanta Sriram Constructions. I am developing affordable housing. But, sir, Honorable Minister Garu, Meeru Kuda construction line lo unnaru. We are facing a lot of problem in developing an affordable housing. See, practically state government is not giving any concessions to any of the affordable housing. The person who is selling at 12,000 rupees per square feet and a person who is selling at 4,000 rupees per square feet paying the same fees to the GHMC and the same registration charges to the registration department. If you fix 1200 square feet plinth area, below 1200 square feet plinth area, affordable housing and fix a norm, you give a concession in registration charges, you give a concession in municipal sanction fees, and you give concession in TDR with additional floors without TDR. And other zones like agriculture or anything, without any change of land use, you should be able to give affordable housing scheme without any questions. Then I think the problem will be every private builder will come forward to do the affordable housing, sir. Thank you.
Sure, and manchi idea icharu. Definitely government will think that way also.
Thank you very much, sir.
Gautam sir, you wanted to respond to the earlier question as well. Yeah.
So, responding to Professor Malhotra's points on the strategy for the smaller towns, as Honorable Minister said, the government has already taken up construction of houses in all these smaller towns. We have taken up construction of 50,000 houses in the smaller towns itself. Already these projects are ongoing. And of course, this entire session was focused on Hyderabad and periphery for want of time, and because the main intent of this workshop was a collaboration between the private sector and the public sector. So that was why the session was tailored like that. However, all your concerns are noted and government is very committed and very keenly working on those fronts. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll probably take one more question, sir. And please ask a question. Please mention who you want the question to be answered by, and please do introduce yourself. Sir, please ask the question. You can stand.
Hello.
Yeah.
My question is to the Honorable Minister and to the MD of the Housing Corporation. I represent here from National Institute of Rural Development, Panchayat Raj. I think Mr. Suresh and other people are talking about the affordable housing. Second thing, they are talking about the Nirmiti Kendras regarding the material availability, other things. Sir, what I found when you go to the affordable housing, we do not have the masons trained in this technology. So National Institute of Rural Development is giving a training and all these technologies. I think Government of Telangana can utilize the services of NIRDPR to train all their masons in this affordable technology so that greenhouse building can be constructed. Second thing is with regard Nirmiti Kendras. So it's a very good concept where the material can be made available to the especially PMA beneficiaries. That's a major challenge they are facing with regard to material. So there is a need to revive the Nirmiti Kendras so that they can build the technologies. And I went to Nirmiti Kendra of Telangana, it's a defunct. Huge area is there. So if you can revive it, I think they can take the help of NIRDPR in training people and doing this so that we can build up the masons across the state so that the affordable housing can be taken place. So the government of Telangana can bring the masons of the state to NIRD where we got a rural building technology park where different model houses are there. They can come and see and they can learn the various technology that can be available so that those technologies can be utilized and housing can be made affordable. This is my submission. Thank you very much.
So, just responding to your question. In fact, I am proud to say we have trained more than 10,000 masons before our Indiramma program actually kick-started on ground. This is primarily beneficial at construction and masons play a very crucial role in it. So recognizing this, on the directions of our Honorable Minister, a residential training program for masons was done in NAC, National Academy of Construction, which is under the aegis of state government. It's a very premier training institute in the construction sector. And in fact, there were 5-day training was offered to masons on all the innovative construction technologies, innovative construction practices. And taking it from there, 2 people, so here we had trained 2 people from every block. So from 500 blocks, 2 masons each had come here and we had organized 2 rounds of training. And taking it forward, the district branches of the National Academy of Construction organize training for masons from each and every Gram Panchayat of the state. So, in fact, putting together, we had trained more than 13,000 masons as part of the Indira Mile housing program. Over and above this, in each and every block headquarters, Mandal headquarters, we had sanctioned and constructed technology demonstration houses where we utilized climate-friendly, thermally efficient technologies, roofing technologies, and walling technologies where material construction costs could be saved. And these were exhibited to all the Indira Mile beneficiaries, as well as masons, as well as the Indira Mile committees who are, involved in this, overseeing the construction. So, of course, we are very keen to partner with NIRDPR as well in this front.
All right, thank you. I think we have just so much time. Maybe the last question to the gentleman who got up. After that, we'll have to, I think lunch is waiting, so I'm sure everybody must be hungry as well. So quickly shoot the question, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm Harsha from Izura. We manufacture tower cranes. We are based out of Hyderabad.
Sorry, you manufacture what, sir?
Tower cranes. So my question is, we don't see much of innovation in construction equipment industry in India. If you look at, to bring in innovation, it's a highly capital intensive. Largely construction equipment are built off Chinese because they're largely backed by Chinese governments. So if you have to develop any sort of new product in terms of construction equipment, how can any Indian company come up and bring in the technology and innovation in construction equipment industry?
Who are you directing this question to?
The government, sir.
To anyone. Mr. Gautam, you want to, so he's asking how can the government support new technology in construction equipment?
See, when you talk about precast,
yes.
To lift the precast material, you require heavy cranes. None of them are made in India. Everything comes from China.
Okay, let me respond to that. So, even the gentleman from NIRDPR had also mentioned about our Nirmiti Kendras. In fact, we had a very thriving system of Nirmiti Kendras earlier in the old Indirama scheme between 2004 to 2014. Later, these Nirmiti Kendras are not fully functional now, but in certain districts, on the directions of the Honorable Minister, we have leased out the lands of the Nirmiti Kendras to private players, incubators like you, who are willing to come forward and establish innovative, construction technologies, right? So some, novel brick-making units, low-cost brick-making units, etc., and, prefabricated slabs for these individual houses. So we are ready to partner with private players, incubators, innovators like you with our Nirmiti Kendras. In fact, our minister was of the opinion that government must not be directly involved in material manufacturing. So we have these Nirmiti Kendras. We are ready to guide you, facilitate you, do the quality controls, etc. And we are ready to partner with, private players in this regard, in the construction technology front. And we have already partnered with certain players with respect to our demonstration houses. Because Telangana Housing Corporation and the erstwhile AP Housing Corporation has always been a key player in pioneering new technologies and increasing the social acceptance of these technologies among the people. Because social acceptance is very important. So we had partnered with certain players in exhibiting this novel technology through our demonstration houses, which we are constructing at each and every Mandal headquarters. And even now this opportunity is open, so we are keen to partner with any one of you in this regard.
Thank you, Mr. Gautam.
I would like to add one
Thank
point.
you.
See, for young innovators, we have a lot of use cases. Like you want to automate tower cranes, right? So you can maybe reach me out on LinkedIn. We will give you use cases, and we are working with young entrepreneurs even to invest some capital and give business use cases and all of that. So yeah, we need to start working on automations around RMC manufacturing, autonomous tower cranes, because finding workforce for tower cranes is a very big problem. So there are a lot of these problems. Yeah, we would love to partner on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Minister has consented for one more question. One in the back, the person in the white Attire, sir, yes, please.
Thank you, Minister Garu. The session is very nice, beyond my expectation. I had a Nirmita Kendra, it's still working. I think before 2004 I started with the help of the HUDCO. And I manufacture also now. I think Mr. Revanth Reddy know I was good in politics for about 25 years. I am now on industry only. We manufacture so many items which is suitable for precast as well as green buildings. I only wish that our minister should take lead in making every house as a green building. It's quite possible and it can be done in economical, and our chairman HUDCO has suggested that because the environment will be better and the power savings will be there for a long. So we must take lead, the government should take lead in building the government offices and government buildings as green buildings, because I have seen few green buildings in Bangalore by many of the leading world organizations and they are very nice. So we must go for that because the ambience of the residents should be very good, as well as the schools, hospitals and all other buildings should be green buildings. We should make it a point of that. And I am really happy to hear that word from the chairman HUDCO. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And sir, for the want of time, we'll want to close the session. Please do try and meet the panelists of dais. Yeah.
We welcome the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Shri Jupalli Krishna Rao Garu, to this session. So thanks for participating in this session, sir. We are honored to have you here.
And Mr. Gautam, can you kindly conclude, sir, please?
Yeah. So your suggestion with respect to green technologies is noted. So we'll try to. We are now constructing houses on a massive scale. Lakhs and lakhs of houses. Government is committed to constructing 2 million houses over the next decade. So we'll definitely incorporate a lot of these technologies, especially thermally efficient construction, which will reduce the cooling load in our houses. Yes. So, I'd like to thank all the panelists, all the esteemed panelists on dais, and all the esteemed delegates who have participated very keenly in this panel discussion. So for me personally, it has been a very enriching discussion, and our Honorable Minister was kind enough to grace this occasion and give his valuable time and valuable inputs throughout this 1.5 hour session. So I'm sure under his leadership and under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Telangana will create a future-ready, scalable and inclusive, affordable and a sustainable housing model as a part of Telangana 2047. And dear friends, this government is very committed to provide affordable houses to all the economically weaker sections. However, no government, however committed, can on its own deliver the scale of affordable housing that we are talking about. As I just said, there is an unmet housing demand of over 29 lakhs. And these are not all economically weaker sections. Even in several houses which we have allotted free of cost, people are investing at least 2 to somewhere at the minimum of bare minimum of 2 lakhs to a maximum of 10 lakhs in just getting these houses renovated, because people are ready to invest. They have some purchasing power in hand. However, we need developers and builders who are willing to invest in affordable housing, banks and housing financing companies to support the necessary funding, not only for the developers, but also for the consumers who may not have the necessary eligibility criteria to meet the regular home loans. So we need dovetail products for the same. And we would request the assistance of multilateral institutions like the World Bank, from which Abhijit has joined us. So they can bring in the global best practices and also provide us the much needed capacity building support for government organizations like the Housing Board and the Housing Corporation. And of course, we need civil society organizations and community groups that can articulate the needs of the society, from the demand side. What is it that people expect? What is their aspiration? What are their fears? What are their desires? So that is as much important when we talk about this affordable housing. And academia and professionals, Professor Rao is here, Suresh Garu is here, so they can contribute to better design, better technology, better productivity. So today's session is not merely a technical consultation. It's an invitation for partnership. It's an invitation for partnership towards achieving this noble goal of providing affordable housing for all. So our intent is very clear that the recommendations, the deliberations from this session will not merely remain on paper. We are committed to bring this into our affordable housing policy, which is in the making and which will be released very soon, maybe in a time span of 2 to 3 months. So with these words, I once again extend a warm gratitude to all the distinguished panels and participants. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gautam. If you guys like the panel, please do give a big round of applause. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. Thank you, Special Secretary Housing, and thank you for all the panelists. I enjoyed moderating the panel, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir, for moderating. And now, hello. Now I request Minister Garu to felicitate our panelists who are on stage. Mr. Vasudevan Suresh Garu, former CMD, HUDCO. So to all our guests, we proudly present the two iconic GI tag treasures of Telangana, the exquisite Pochampalli Ikat shawls, renowned for their intricate tie and dye weaving, embody the timeless skill of our artisans. Complementing them are the vibrant Sherial masks, handicrafted in the traditional storytelling style that carries centuries of Telangana's cultural heritage. Let us celebrate these GI recognized art forms and the master craftsmen who keep our traditions alive. Mr. Abhijit Shankar Ray, Dr. P.S.N. Rao, Dr. P.S.N. Rao. Ladies and gentlemen, we are presenting the two GI tag mementos that you see here. One is the Ikat shawl and the other one is the Cherial mask, known from centuries in Telangana art form. Mr. G. Rami Reddy Garu. Mr. Nandakishore Garu. Mr. Ajitesh Garu. And today's moderator for our session, wonderfully moderated this session, I must say, Mr. Preetam Mehraji. అందరికి లంచ్ టైం అయింది నాకు తెలుసు, కానీ అయినా ఒక్కసారి చప్పట్లయితే అవసరం అండి. లెట్స్ cheer each other. So ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude this session of our panel discussion, and thank you to all our dignitaries who are present on stage here. This session definitely enforces that inclusive growth is built brick by brick, and every citizen should and must have an access for safe and dignified housing. Thank you one and all for joining us on stage. Thank you one and all for joining us on stage. Now we take a short break here, a lunch break. And exactly 1 hour later, we assemble back again here in Hall 1 for our next panel discussion, the theme being the Bharat Future City as a magnet for 3 trillion Telangana. So let's all join back again after exactly 1 hour. But before that, we have a special video which is going to be played for you that's called Indramma Illu. So can we have the AV please?
For the first time in Telangana's history, a housing mission has emerged not just to construct homes, but to build dignity, stability and hope. Welcome to the Indirama Housing Scheme, a transformative initiative designed to empower women and provide families with a true sense of ownership. This isn't just another housing project. This is Telangana's most ambitious flagship mission, personally guided by Honorable Chief Minister A. Revanth Reddy.
పేదవాడికి సొంతింటి కల నెరవేరడానికి ఇందిరమ్మ ఇండ్లు ప్రతి నియోజకవర్గంలో ఆల్రెడీ మంజూరు చేసినాం.
Making housing a right, not a privilege. Across the state, a monumental 3,38,681 homes have been sanctioned. Each assembly constituency receives 3,500 houses, ensuring no region is left behind. Every eligible woman-headed household receives 5 lakh rupees as a 100% subsidy. No loans, no interest. Just a clear pathway to a secure life. Already, the Telangana government has disbursed over 3,142.15 crore and in addition, 237 crore in self-help group supported loans have been granted to nearly 22,000 women. This is financial empowerment at scale for the people who've waited the longest. So what makes Indirama different? Everything. This is a housing model reimagined through governance and innovation. From the very moment an application is submitted, AI steps in, verifying details with unmatched precision. No errors, no bias, only deserving families. Every approved house is geotagged, visible on a real-time digital map, enabling the government to track the construction phase. Basement, walling, slab, completion. With 360-degree monitoring and stage-by-stage visual proof, there's no room for manipulation or delay. And for the first time in India, beneficiaries themselves upload progress photos through a mobile app. Every update is documented, tamper-proof and fully traceable, ushering in a new era of digital transparency. The Indirama housing scheme is not just homes. It's a new way to build India. Telangana has introduced shear wall technology, the same advanced construction method used in luxury towers, now made accessible to low-income families. To ensure excellence, all masons and site teams are trained through NAC certified programs. About another mandal, a model house was constructed, a walk-in experience for families to see. Room layout, interior design, electrical and plumbing placement, ventilation, light flow rent and structural strength. Transparency, trust and quality delivered even before the first brick is laid. More than a housing scheme, it is India's first complete tech-enabled, women-led, corruption-proof housing ecosystem. AI-powered verification, geo-tagged construction sites, real-time progress tracking, weekly DBT transfers, workforce trained to national standards, future-ready shear wall structures. This is not just a promise, this is a benchmark for the future. This is Indirama, a mission like no other, a transformation that starts at home and builds the future of Telangana.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this panel session. We'll take a short break We should be back here another 20 minutes and I'm asked to do that. So by 2:15 we shall gather here, assemble here for our next session. Well, many of you all must be having VIP coupons, then you can access the VIP lounge for the lunch break, and people who have delegate coupons can access the delegate lounge. So see you all after a short break. Thank you.